I think everybody in the country can see that for what it is.
President Biden gives a commencement address this weekend. The White House wants it to go smoothly.
The director of the White House's Office of Public Engagement, Stephen Benjamin, met with a group of students and faculty at Morehouse College in Atlanta last week. The New York Times first reported the meeting. Benjamin's trip comes as some in the college sent Biden's commencement address, scheduled for this Sunday because of the president's support of Israel in Gaza. Administration officials say the president supports peaceful protest, but that commencement ceremony should celebrate the accomplishments of students. President Biden will also address the commencement at West Point later this month. At the White House, Jared Halpern, Fox News.
Wholesale prices rise 0.5% last month. That's more than most economists expected. That inflation is 2.2% on a year-to-year basis. America's listening to Fox News.
I'm getting vaccinated with Prevnar 20, a Pfizer vaccine.
So am I, because I'm at risk for pneumococcal pneumonia.
If you're 19 or older with chronic conditions like asthma, diabetes, COPD, or heart disease, or are 65 or older, you are at increased risk for pneumococcal pneumonia. Ask your doctor or pharmacist about Prevnar 20, pneumococcal 20-valent conjugate vaccine. It can help protect you against pneumococcal pneumonia in just one dose. Even if you've already been vaccinated with other pneumonia vaccines, Prevnar 20 may help provide added protection. Prevnar 20 is approved for adults to help prevent infections from 20 strains of the bacteria that cause pneumococcal pneumonia. Continued approval may depend on a supportive study. Don't get Prevnar 20 if you've had a severe allergic reaction to the vaccine or its ingredients. Adults with weakened immune systems may have a lower response to the vaccine. Side effects include pain and swelling at the injection site, fatigue, headache, muscle, and joint pain. For full prescribing information, please call 1-855-213-2138 or visit Prevnar20.com.
Air Comfort Service, heating, cooling, and insulation. Weather.
Our slow-moving low pressure still in play with periods of scattered showers and some thunder showers around going through the afternoon. Nothing severe, 72. Scattered showers and thunder showers around this evening. Slow clearing late night, 57. Wednesday is nice, gorgeous. Lots of sunshine, 75 with more developing showers and thunder showers for Thursday and Friday. This is 97.1 FM Talk. Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
If you have an IRS problem, getting accurate legal advice could help get this all behind you right now. Hi, I'm local attorney Lance Drury with the Drury Law Firm. The IRS made new changes that make it easier to settle your IRS debt for a reduced amount. Not all our clients qualify, but under the IRS's new Fresh Start program, you may be able to resolve your IRS problems quickly and for less money. But don't wait. An IRS problem is a legal problem. You need someone who understands both the IRS and the law. Don't trust your tax problems to some TV personality. The Drury Law Firm has handled thousands of IRS cases over the last 15 years, and your first visit is completely free and confidential. And I'll tell you on the spot exactly how much it will cost. So if you're facing IRS wage levies, bank levies, or tax liens, call me, Lance Drury, at 314-260-6120, or go to lance.drurylaw.com. If you have IRS issues, you need a local attorney. You need me, Lance Drury.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements.
What better way to support your nutrition than with the multivitamin that was created right here in St. Louis? Neovitin Original Multivitamin was created by St. Louis physician Dr. Ribicki to support his own nutrition when he needed it most. Now, Neovitin Original Multivitamin is formulated with sensible doses of vitamins, minerals, antioxidants, and Dr. Ribicki's proprietary blend to give you nutritional support you won't find anywhere else. Neovitin is now conveniently available through our no-obligation monthly subscription. Cancel or pause at any time, and shipping is free. Support your nutrition with a subscription to Neovitin at neovitin.com today.
What's your favorite four-letter word? Chances are you've said it more than a few times dealing with this crazy world we live in. But at Compass Retirement Solutions, our four-letter word of choice is hope. Hope for a better tomorrow. And hope that your retirement plans don't take a back seat. You've watched inflation soar, and maybe your retirement future feels a little uncertain right now. But all hope is not lost. Find out exactly how much risk you're still taking with your investments. Find out how you may be able to save big on taxes. And find out how having a written retirement plan just might give you the hope you've been looking for. Call today to set up a meeting. 314-373-1598. That's 314-373-1598. Compass Retirement Solutions. 314-373-1598. Firm offers insurance services but does not provide tax advice. Investments and services offered through Compass Retirement Group, a registered investment advisory firm in Missouri and Illinois. Investing involves risk, including the potential loss of principal.
Don't let a cold, sinus infection, or allergies ruin your day. Breathe easier, sleep better, and feel healthier with Navage. Visit Navage.com, Walmart, Walgreens, CVS, or a store near you.
The Annie Fry Show YouTube live chat poll of the day is sponsored by Ruler Foods. Low prices, no coupons. Ruler Foods.
That is exactly what I needed to hear.
Thank God someone here knows what they're talking about.
That's us. That's right. Gotta love this American ride.
All right, you need to take the time and get the full picture.
Come on, turn the radio on. It's Saturday and I won't be long.
Don't get me wrong. I love the ladies. I mean, they rev my engine, but they don't belong in the newsroom. It is Anchor Man, not Anchor Lady.
What do you want from me? I'm not America's sweetheart.
Goodness sake, kid. Keep your voice down. Your father's listening to the radio.
I'm not America's sweetheart.
This is the Annie Fry Show.
This is not the United States of America. This is some third-rate banana republic. If this were happening in another country, we would be laughing at them as a sham democracy. I am ashamed as an American citizen to sit here in a courtroom watching the former leader of the free world, and let's be honest, likely next leader of the free world, sitting with the indignity in this dingy third-rate courtroom with fourth-rate prosecutors and a fifth-rate lawyer on the stand as a witness, who actually is violating attorney-client privilege left and right. Nobody's even talking about that. So this is a shame on the spirit in our country's history, but we will get through it and be stronger, because you know who ultimately actually cast the vote on this case? It's not just the jurors in that jury box. It's every one of you at home. It's every American who votes this November to say no to the weaponization of justice.
So Vivek Ramaswamy is back on the scene outside of the courthouse, and he is working to defend Donald Trump. And this is a smart move by the Trump team, the Trump campaign, the Trump defense, whatever it might be, to use surrogates to go out and speak on behalf of Donald Trump and say the things that a gag order may not allow Donald Trump to say. So Vivek Ramaswamy was one of many who spoke today. He said that Cohen was a fifth-rate attorney. Do you know, Brad, do you know what that means? Because I had to Google it.
Fifth rate?
Yeah.
No. That's
I mean,
new.
I've heard like second rate.
Yeah.
Fifth rate. I'm like, is there even a fifth rate? Well, it turns out, assuming that my quick Google search here is an appropriate source of knowledge, in the rating system of the Royal Navy used to categorize sailing ships, a fifth rate was the second smallest class of warships in a hierarchical system of 6 ratings based on size and firepower. So it could be worse, Michael Cohen. You could be sixth rate. I was just thinking when when Vivek Ramaswamy speaks, he uses a lot of descriptors, a lot of in the world that we live in right now, the English language, the grammar pronoun world we live in. Vivek is a fan of the adjective and the adverb. So that was his response out there. Let's listen to Congressman had to say.
We are better than this as Americans, and unfortunately, the Democrat Party has lost their ever-loving minds. And so it's going to take the American people to remind them that justice is supposed to be blind. It is not supposed to be going after political opponents and political rivals.
So he brings the heat. He's very much so in a position to levy his communications in a way that defends Donald Trump. But also, I feel like Byron Donalds is one of the best there is at speaking in a way that some people might think that when I say this, I'm kind of referring to like a dumbing down or whatever. No. The American people speak a certain way. The American people see things a certain way. When you get into Congress, you've had to go through some, political Olympics. You've had to win some primaries. You've had to win some general elections. You learn how to speak. You learn how to color everything in a way that is most beneficial to your own particular cause. And in a lot of that causes people to forget how the American people actually speak. And it creates a barrier into the communication where you and I, when we listen to a lot of these politicians speak, you just know you're being sold on something. Now, I've been sold on things before that I thought, I did my own personal research and I had an idea in my mind about what I wanted to do and what I didn't want to do. People talk about cars or, whatever it might be, houses, whatever. You're going to get sold on something. And just because you're sold on something doesn't inherently make the purchase a bad one. Doesn't mean that you made an uneducated decision in the end to be sold, but sometimes it does. And politicians are constantly trying to sell you on something. And they might be trying to sell you on something they truly in their heart and their head believe to be the right thing. But there is a skill that is involved there. And people see it, people pull it out, and it becomes one of those things where the second that you start to feel like you're trying to be sold, you kind of shut down. And then you put them in like, oh, they're a congressman, and then you just put them all in this one bucket of politician that, if they got there, they must be a liar. And it just couldn't be further from the truth. There's a lot of really good people who are in Congress. This is where I always go, like even Brad and Ryan and I, if I said, how many people in Congress can you name? There are 435 representatives. There are 100 senators. There are 535 people that are representing the American voter in Congress. How many can you name? And when you realize how few you can actually name, it's not right to label all of them based on the ones who find themselves in front of a camera or behind a microphone most frequently. The Speaker of the House also came to, these people were in the courtroom. They were watching this, well, in the room where you could observe. I don't know that they were, aren't there two rooms?
I'm not sure.
There's the courtroom, but then I think there's like an observatory where the press is, and they're all on their laptops and clacking away, typing away based on what they're seeing. So I don't know if these individuals specifically were sitting actually in the courtroom or if they were able to observe, but they witnessed this morning's hearing so far with their own eyes. Here's the Speaker of the House.
President Trump is a friend, and I wanted to be here to support him. I'm here speaking with you outside because the court won't allow us to speak inside the building. That's just one of the many things that are wrong here. This is the fifth week that President Trump has been in court for this sham of a trial. They are doing this intentionally to keep him here and keep him off of the campaign trail. And I think everybody in the country can see that for what it is.
Does it matter to you that you see the Speaker of the House, that you see Congressman Donalds, that you see Vivek Ramaswamy, one of the opponents to Donald Trump, of course, he was an opponent, but he never really seemed to be in direct opposition of Donald Trump. Like the initial thing I feel like that Vivek Ramaswamy did to break through on the campaign trail was these charges were levied, and he said, make me president and I'll pardon Donald Trump. Mm-hmm. And he's like, who else is going to do it? Everybody needs to make that commitment right now. And everyone was like, oh my gosh, these charges are crap to begin with. He is in good voice when he speaks. He definitely knows how to communicate. And it's good to see more of a unified unified front for Donald Trump that doesn't involve Donald Trump coming out and saying the same thing every day, although I do feel that is effective to his message as well. So cross-examination for Michael Cohen is supposed to begin, I think, this afternoon. So we're looking at any minute now that could possibly begin. And, oh, man, do you have the link for the video, the Cohen video from yesterday?
I'll get it.
I'll give you a minute to pull that up because I was going to play the sound here, but you got to watch it with us if you're on the Annie Fry YouTube channel. Every once in a while, of course, if you're listening on the radio, it just sounds like a normal radio show. But every once in a while, if we have something like this planned show, Michael Cohen is trying to shop a television show where he becomes the fixer for you, for like average. The way he presents it, it's like the plebes can have a fixer too. You're like, what kind of things are we going through as just normal common folk in a position where we're going to need a fixer of the Cohen level? And also, Brad, I mean, generally speaking, all Michael Cohen is willing to do is to be a professionally depraved liar.
Yes. Yeah.
For you.
Yeah, that's what a fixer is. The fixer just goes in and, for lack of a better term, does the wet work, fixes things for you. There was a show on, I think it was Showtime for a while there, called Ray Donovan. And Ray Donovan was a fixer.
This is like a
Yeah, it's a completely
written,
completely fictional thing. Ray Donovan was a fixer.
Or was it?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't like he got into the weeds a little more than Michael Cohen did. Michael Cohen does it from a legal strategy, pays people off, stuff like that. But also, if you watch Billions, they also have a guy on there. The lawyer for the main character is a fixer, and he figures out the ways to go and silence people and all this other stuff. They're very unscrupulous people, and they do very horrible things to protect their client. So I wouldn't look at Michael Cohen and see a fixer as a hero. And
he would differ. He would beg to differ on that. So yeah, I'm gonna play this video for you. We've got Andrew Bailey, the Attorney General for the state of Missouri. He's coming up in the next segment, and I'm looking forward to talking to him. I'm going to ask him about this. He's suing the Biden administration again for good reason as well, and I am going to talk to him about that. But I am going to also ask for his legal expertise on what he has seen in this trial so far, because he's been a great advocate for justice being blind and uncovering a lot of what it is that we have watched this Biden administration, and honestly, the bureaucracy, the swamp that existed before the Biden administration was in there. He and Eric Schmidt as well, alike, have been great advocates for it. All right, so what you're going to listen to now, this is the shopped trailer. I'm going to throw up while I watch this because I've seen this 1.5 times, and I saw it one time, and then the second time it came on, I couldn't turn it off fast enough. And you're going, Annie, why are you doing this to me? And it's because if I saw it, you have to too.
My name is Michael Cohen, and for years, I was the personal lawyer for a notoriously bad man.
Michael Cohen.
Michael Cohen. Michael Cohen. Trump lawyer and fixer Michael Cohen. I fixed his problems, both professional and personal, gaining power, wealth, and notoriety for myself in the process. And I paid the price for it.
President Trump's longtime personal lawyer, Michael Cohen, is going to jail.
Michael Cohen left his apartment and then headed to federal prison.
The judge has just sentenced Michael Cohen to 36 months. Since then, I've been on a journey of redemption, working to set things right with my family, my friends, my country, speaking truth to power and calling it like I see it. In my books, Disloyal and Revenge, and on my podcast, Mea Culpa. But now I'm paying it forward, wielding the tools that I've learned for regular people in trouble. The little guy doesn't usually have access to people with my particular set of skills, but that's all about to change. I'll work with you, offering expertise, advice, and solutions to fix your problem. Together, we'll change your life. I am your fixer.
You most certainly are not going to be my fixer. The thing that is the most repulsive to me about this is how he's like talking about at the beginning of this how he worked for a bad man and he made his problems go away by doing completely unsavory, dishonest things. He's the good guy here? Like, spare me. Barf. I can't handle it. It doesn't, I mean, it goes to what we were saying yesterday. We're speaking with Will Chamberlain. We had good conversations yesterday about the man, Michael Cohen, but he's a professional liar. He is a convicted perjurer. He's a disbarred lawyer. And he says in this pitch to have a TV show so that he can be your fixer because people don't have the opportunity to have access to his particular set of skills. Shut up, barf. Like, nobody is looking for this, Michael Cohen. Not from you. Not from you. I don't think that you can be the fixer for people if everybody knows your name. And if your whole purpose here this entire time was for everybody to know your name, he says in that trailer, he talks about how he worked for a bad man to fix his problems. And he talks about, he says it himself, you know, it gained him a certain kind of notoriety. There's nothing redeeming about this man at all. And he's willing to use every opportunity he gets and every opportunity he can manufacture to make his name more known because infamy is all that he has. And if he's broke, like Will Chamberlain said on the show yesterday, and he needs money, then there certainly is motive to do whatever it takes, to pay whatever the price is in order to get himself into a place where he can be financially beneficial for it. It's really awful. Well, I wish we could see I wish we could see what it's going to look like in cross-examination for Michael Cohen. But that's supposed to take place tonight. Laura Ingraham is in the courtroom today as well, and I'm sure she's going to have some really great insight as to what she sees. These people who have all the legal expertise, I've never been inside a courtroom. And I don't know how much experience, Brad, you have inside courtrooms, but it is not something that I know and can take what I'm hearing and place it into the experience that I've had. I know nothing. I've toured them.
Yeah, I've never been in one for a trial or anything like that. I've been outside them while people I know were in there for hearings and stuff like that. No, I take that back. I was in court one time for a seatbelt violation.
Really?
Yes.
Bad boy.
You know what? It wasn't a seatbelt violation.
Man, this story keeps changing.
Yeah, so the
At
police
the end, you're going to have robbed a liquor store.
The police officer pulled me over for what he said was a seatbelt violation or a seatbelt check, I think is what he said. But I had my seatbelt on, but I didn't have an up-to-date insurance card, so I had to show up to court to show that I had insurance.
That you had insurance.
For that time.
Just insurance verification.
Yeah. Yep. And so I walked in, I was like, I have it. Judge is like, case dismissed.
Well, that's more experience than I have, or that I want to have, but I just think a lot of America doesn't understand the ins and outs of this legal process. And so you are very much going to be slanted by what you hear from your media outlet of choice. So, I'm going to watch Fox more than I'm going to watch other things. I do watch other things. But if you only consume one thing and you don't have your own personal experience with being inside a courtroom or having watched a trial like this, you just got to kind of take their word for it. All right, let's take a quick break. When we come back, we are going to speak with the Attorney General of the state of Missouri. Andrew Bailey is going to join us, and he is suing the Biden administration for that Title IX rewrite, as well as he's looking for documents that are going to expose potentially any type of coordination when it comes to the Trump prosecution. We'll find out from the Attorney General when we come back. Don't go away.
This is the Annie Fry Show. Follow Annie on Twitter @AnnieFryShow. Follow Annie on Twitter @AnnieFryShow.
All right, folks, if you haven't seen the post that I put up on Mother's Day on Facebook and Twitter, I showed this beautiful new necklace that my husband got me for Mother's Day, and I love it. It's a necklace. It's a custom-made necklace by Tom at the Diamond Shop that it's exactly like what I have always worn, but I always bought a cheaper version of it. And I mean, I wear it all the time, and they literally would last, 60 days, and then they just kind of degrade. This is a wonderful, beautiful silver necklace with a cross that's a little bit to the side, and my husband got it made for me with Tom at the Diamond Shop. He went in there and said, this is a necklace that my wife loves to wear. I think this is what he said. I didn't ask him for the word for word conversation, but he said that there were some pictures that were drawn, and then Tom just did his Diamond Shop Tom thing. And I love it. I'm so happy to have this necklace that I know is going to be timeless. And you can get that type of custom jewelry done at the Diamond Shop. And it's affordable. It didn't break the bank. We are very happy to be able to go back to the Diamond Shop anytime we have the opportunity to look at something, invest in something for ourselves or for someone we love. They're in Clayton. They've been in business in St. Louis since 1910, but they are absolutely waiting for you to come in. Tell them you're from the Annie Fry Show. Please make sure you let them know that you came from here and just start the conversation from that point. You can find them in Clayton. You can find them online at thediamondshop.net.
Hello, Mike Carter here. I wonder if you knew that after the purchase of the Louisiana Territory in 1804, a formal three-flag ceremony was held in St. Louis to mark the transfer. The Spanish flag lowered and the French tricolor raised. That in turn was lowered the next day, and the flag of the young Republic of the United States stood tall. I'm Mike Carter of Carter Law Offices here, and at that moment, the people living here went from being subjects to being citizens of a great free nation. Jump ahead 220 years to what we have become, and over 6 million men, women, and children now call Missouri home. Our largest cities are an economic powerhouse, and our small towns and family farms remain the heart of the nation. A friend wrote me one time at Carter Law Offices, "Hey, Mike Carter, why don't Missouri residents show their pride by flying our state flag more often like the folks in Texas?" I was like, that's a really great idea. And I was thinking, maybe anybody who's listening to this, if you want to send me an email at mike@carterlegal.com with your name and address if you're okay doing so, and I'll send you a free state flag, and you can hang it out on your front porch and show everybody you're as proud of Missouri as I am.
You're listening to the Annie Fry Show live from the Air Comfort Service Heating, Cooling, and Insulation Studio. Air Comfort Service is hiring licensed journeymen. Don't have a journeyman license? Air Comfort Service will help you get it. Get guaranteed hours year-round and more. Apply online at aircomfortservice.com.
This is Ryan Wiggins from Wiggins America and the Annie Fry Show, and I was born with CF. May is Cystic Fibrosis Awareness Month, so I'm glad to assist in helping find a cure for this terrible disease. Register to walk in the Gateway Chapter Great Strides on May 18th at 971talk.com/care.
There is a house in New Orleans they call the Rising Sun, and it's been the ruin of many a poor boy. And God, I know I'm one.
Welcome back to the Annie Fry Show. I want to get straight to our guest because we got so much to talk to the Attorney General, Andrew Bailey. Welcome back to the show. It's good to have you here. Lots to discuss, and you have a very busy office as well, so we appreciate you being with us today.
Hey, thanks for having me on. Always great to talk to you.
Before we get into a couple of these issues that you are working hard on for the people of Missouri and the ancillary people of Illinois who are grateful for what you've been doing to fight back against the Biden administration, I wanted to give you an opportunity to just react to the Alvin Bragg non-hush money trial in Manhattan, the Michael Cohen testimony. Just your legal expertise, thoughts on what you've seen so far.
Any prosecutor that puts a convicted liar on the stand in a sham prosecution should be subject to discipline on their professional licensure. This is an illicit witch hunt. The case is not supported by the facts or the law. Alvin Bragg is attempting to pervert the law to take a political opponent off the campaign trail and deny Missourians and everyone in the United States, freedom-loving people across the United States, access to President Trump as a political candidate. The goal here was never to obtain a legally valid conviction. The goal was always to interfere with the election by taking President Trump off the campaign trail. Alvin Bragg should be ashamed of himself. I can't believe that the court has allowed this to happen. The judiciary in the state of New York has allowed this to happen and it not acted as a check and balance. You know, prosecutors, all attorneys are held to ethical standards in the model rules of professional conduct. And prosecutors are actually held to a heightened standard of rules and can't be self-interested in the case. So when you've got Alvin Bragg, who has sued President Trump while he worked for Letitia James and has campaigned on a promise to prosecute President Trump, he should have been disqualified from this case long ago. And it would have never been filed because, it's not supported by the facts or the law.
And just before we move on here, what is the cost to taxpayers in New York to, go through a trial like this? I'd imagine it's got a high dollar.
It is. It's enormous. There's an enormous cost to the taxpayers. And I would point out, too, look at how crime is rampant in New York. So the Manhattan District Attorney's Office doesn't have time to prosecute actual criminals, but will use taxpayer resources to attack a political opponent. It's shameful. This is what happens in third world banana republic dictatorships. I hate to see this happening in the United States of America. This level of lawfare is shameful, and we've got to stand up and put a stop to it.
Well, as Attorney General of the state of Missouri, we're speaking with Andrew Bailey right now. I'm reading this press release from your office right now. Attorney General Bailey demands DOJ turn over documents relating to prosecutions of President Trump. So you're actually taking action from your position here in the state of Missouri to look into what the DOJ might be communicating with different people. What kind of hunch do you have when you're making this kind of ask? What are you wanting to find out did happen or didn't happen?
We believe there's a level of collusion from the Biden administration with the Department of Justice with local prosecutors in these cases. And it's a level of collusion never seen before in this country. We knew the prosecutions, the cases themselves were an illicit witch hunt prosecutions, but the illicit motivations of the prosecutors themselves are now becoming evident, not only with Alvin Bragg, but specifically with Matthew Colangelo. This is a longtime DNC supporter who was the #3 official at Biden's crooked Department of Justice, who suddenly leaves the Department of Justice to go lead Alvin Bragg's prosecution team against President Trump. So this appears to be the Biden administration deploying resources in lawfare against President Trump. We know they've already charged President Trump with an offense that they also admit President Biden committed, but received no prosecution. And certainly we've seen this kind of pattern of behavior in the past. In 2016, when they let Hillary Clinton off the hook without even, really looking at the matter, while simultaneously text messages between Peter Strzok and Lisa Page from the Department of Justice demonstrated that the witch hunt against President Trump began before he even took office. So again, this is a sad day in the history of the United States of America, that we now have the president and the administration, the Department of Justice, engaging in this kind of lawfare and deploying resources to the Manhattan District Attorney's office to achieve this illicit ambition.
You're listening to the Attorney General of the state of Missouri, Andrew Bailey, speaking with us right now. If you find out that there was some sort of collusion, I mean, I'm just thinking, I've no legal mind here, but what happens if the people who are supposed to be, levying justice are the ones who are corrupt? Like, what if you prove what you're saying here is to be true? Then, I mean, to me, it seems like, who do you go to with that information?
These prosecutors are subject to discipline on their professional licensure if they're violating the rules of professional conduct and are self-interested and politically motivated in these cases. But beyond that, there's potential civil liability that President Trump could bring against these individuals if they're acting under color of state law and violating his civil rights. And moreover, if there's criminal conduct here, then it's time to prosecute the prosecutors. And so it's important that we obtain this evidence and be transparent about this and lay it out there for the public to see, so they can understand the illicit nature of the prosecutors themselves. At a minimum, this will give rise to delegitimizing whatever illegal conviction is obtained in this case.
We're speaking with the Attorney General of the state of Missouri, Andrew Bailey. You mentioned a word and you said collusion, and it has our YouTube chat popping right now. And someone said all of a sudden it looks like we're going to have to look into actual evidence that suggests collusion. We have heard the word collusion be connected with Donald Trump many, many times, as the leftist-leaning media and Hillary Clinton herself tried to throw that allegation against Donald Trump when it comes to Russia and the winning of the first election that Donald Trump participated in. What do you feel about the balance, the quantity of evidence against Donald Trump colluding in the way that they accused him of doing it, and what you've seen so far that's making you take these actions to look into what the DOJ has been communicating regarding the collusion that the Biden DOJ might have, and wrapping all of these charges against the president to try to interfere with this election?
Well, it's absolutely election interference. There was zero evidence ever brought forward that President Trump ever did anything wrong. So the illicit witch hunt at the front end of President Trump's initial presidency was never legitimate in the first place, should have never happened, and was a distraction that was concocted by the deep state to undermine our president. That is shameful, and should, luckily the conclusion was properly reached that there was no charges to be filed because nothing had happened there. President Trump did nothing wrong, and in fact was leading this country in a good direction to fight back against foreign actors, badly behaving foreign actors. But I would say this: when you've got Matthew Colangelo, a longtime DNC activist and supporter, who is the third highest ranking official at Biden's crooked Department of Justice, you've got this history of bad behavior by the deep state to attack President Trump. And now you've got Matthew Colangelo leaving the DOJ to take a lower paying job and assist Alvin Bragg in the courtroom, leading the prosecution of President Trump. That is sufficient evidence to undermine the credibility of whatever illegal conviction is obtained in this case. Again, that creates the appearance of impropriety. It's an actual impropriety. And the reasonable inference to be drawn from those facts that are established in the public domain is that these prosecutors are illicitly motivated. And that's the important part to remember. Again, that gives rise to censure on their professional licensure, could give rise to civil and potentially criminal liability, and at a minimum, which should result in a reverse.
This request to be honored so that you can get to the bottom of what you're looking for.
Well, we're not going to let the Department of Justice stonewall us as we've seen them do in other instances, and we'll file suit if we have to obtain these records. Again, it's important that the people understand what's going on here. And again, I think you said it precisely right. It amounts to nothing less than election interference.
Yeah.
They want to take President Trump off the campaign trail to deny us access to our presidential candidate. We can't let that stand. We've got to fight back.
We're speaking with the Attorney General of the state of Missouri. That subject of the working to get those documents that the DOJ has, the communications that they have regarding potential collusion among the lawfare that they've levied against President Trump. To me, that's kind of the Biden administration's way of campaigning. They can't send Joe Biden out there to make the case that what he is doing for the American people is worth re-election. They have to make sure that the other guy is unelectable. And you can try to do that without even getting guilty verdicts in a court of law if you can get the guilty verdict in the court of public opinion. But if we do go for a second over to what Joe Biden is doing, not for the American people, but I will say to the American people, you have another lawsuit that you've filed here. Your press release says that you filed a lawsuit to halt unlawful Biden rewrite of Title IX, allowing males in female spaces. I mean, I was a female athlete in high school, four-sport athlete through my senior year of high school. I'm raising 3 daughters, one of which is the oldest is a very good athlete, and she is 11, so she's just about to get into the place where competition is really starting to gear up. And I have to prepare myself for how I'm going to react to an instance where she might find herself competing against a man or a young man or an adolescent boy. And I don't know as a mom how I'm supposed to handle this when I see the man who is in the highest elected office in the land saying, I should think there's absolutely nothing wrong with this, and really using it as a virtuous way to show everybody how good he and his campaign, his administration is. What are you going after in this Title IX lawsuit that you filed against the Biden administration?
Annie, as you well know, Title IX for the past 50 years has stood in the way to protect women's sports, women's access to athletic competitions, the sanctity of women's sports, and the privacy of women's locker rooms and bathroom facilities in order to facilitate these athletic competitions. And what President Biden is doing is trying to undermine the plain text of the statute and the 50-year history of the statute in an attack on equality for women. He wants men to be able to use the restroom with your daughter and then compete against them in an athletic competition, or shower next to them in a girl's locker room. I mean, this absolute ridiculous insanity on behalf of the Biden administration. Not only is it the wrong policy position, but because it undermines the sanctity of women's athletic competitions and privacy, but it puts women and girls at risk from a safety and health welfare standpoint. But on top of that, it's illegal. The president has no authority to write his own laws. He's got to get that through Congress. If Congress wants to do that, I don't think that they will. But it also undermines the system of federalism. The state of Missouri has the Save Women's Sports Act, and the Biden administration is trying to use an administrative rule to essentially nullify state law. We're not going to let that happen. We are leading a coalition of states, was proud to partner with like-minded state attorneys general like Tim Griffin in Arkansas. We held a joint press conference announcing this legal action in Little Rock, Arkansas last week. We filed the case in the United States District Court for the Eastern District of Missouri, and we're confident in our ultimate success on the merits to protect women's equality.
Well, we appreciate your efforts for doing that and really making the necessary noise to make sure. It is refreshing to just see someone else go, what the heck are we doing here? No, we're not going to stand for this. And to see voices like yours standing up to push back on this administration that gets a free pass from a lot of the people in the media that don't challenge the obvious common sense of men should play in men's sports and women should be played in women's sports and our young girls should be protected from men being in the bathrooms. Like, I can't even believe I'm saying these things out loud as a concern in 2024, but here we are. So, Attorney General, thank you for being with us today and for the advocacy that you are doing for common sense and the people of Missouri and the people of the country.
Thanks, Annie. Always appreciate my time chatting with you. All the best to you and your listeners.
Thank you so much. We appreciate you as well. The Attorney General of the state of Missouri here with us on the Annie Frey Show, talking about the Michael Cohen testimony in the Donald Trump trial in Manhattan, talking about the request for documents that he has levied against the Department of Justice to find out what kind of collusion may have taken place in the prosecutions of Donald Trump. And of course, the Biden administration's rewrite of Title IX, which really takes it adds the idea of gender into Title IX and really confuses the whole lot of it. Let's take a quick break. Wiggins America, when we come back, he's got 10 sentences you want to use if you want to be happy. I wonder if he walks around and I would say, Brad, is it safe to say that Ryan is the happiest of the three of us?
Yeah, pretty close.
Yeah, I don't. It's neither here nor there. I wouldn't say we're unhappy, but just generally on the whole,
yeah,
Ryan's a pretty happy guy.
Yep.
So maybe he's the guy we need to take advice from. Stick around. The Annie Fry Show will be back with Wiggins America in a minute.
The Annie Fry Show is streaming online. Watch us live on YouTube and subscribe.
Misery in the house of the rising sun.
Point Pest Control. Some of my BFFs, I don't even know all of them, but they are my BFFs because they took care of my spider problem. They do more than spiders, though. I end up talking about spiders quite a bit because I hate them and I want them gone. And they took care of that for me last fall. Haven't seen a spider since. Our basement is completely clear of them. My kids definitely let me know if they find one down there, and we haven't had a problem at all. I also pay for their quarterly service to make sure that we keep up with the changing seasons, because with different seasons comes different pests. Right now, you might be seeing mosquitoes. You can also encounter spiders as the weather is getting warmer and colder in and of each particular day. But termites, they might also be making themselves known. If you have a pest control problem at your home, also commercially, they do service for a ton of businesses that you know the names of. Point Pest Control is the place that they rely on to keep their businesses, their restaurants, pest-free. You can reach out to them. Make sure that when you do, you mention the Annie Fry Show, because you're going to save an extra 10% on the top of any specials that they have going. So don't leave money on the table. Remember to mention my name, Annie. 636-798-0023. 636-798-0023. Point with an E, pointpestcontrol.com.
You know, there's a sign I keep in my office that reads, "Remember where you came from." Well, Mike Carter here of Carter Law Offices. We all remember where we grew up, the schools we attended, and the streets we played on, and the friends we made. The Carter family has deep roots in Missouri. There was a Civil War captain from St. Charles County who became sheriff of Lincoln County. My own grandparents had a farm down in Carter County where I spent a couple boyhood summers riding a pig, to and fro. For myself, Mike Carter, I was raised in North County, and before you ask, I went to Hazelwood West High School. Growing up, my parents taught me that if I studied and worked hard, good things were sure to follow. And like many of you, I went to Mizzou, working my way through college, bussing tables, driving for UPS. Then I graduated law school, founded Carter Law Offices, and serve now as a municipal judge and general counsel of the largest employer in St. Charles County. But I never forget North County, where I came from, and the people and places that we all remember that make us who we are. Go to MikeCarter.com and check out some interviews from some other people across the great state of Missouri.
Mark Cox here. If you're planning your next outdoor project, I can save you some money right now, thanks to my friends at Chesterfield Fence and Deck. If you call them and mention my name, they'll give you 48 months interest-free financing on your next outdoor project with Chesterfield Fence and Deck. It's that easy. 636-532-4054, or just go to chesterfieldfence.com. You're going to love working with this company. They've been under the same ownership since 1968. They take a lot of pride in what they do, and it's the sign you have the very best. They do wood fences, vinyl fences, same with decks. They can do a beautiful natural cedar deck, or they can use that Vecadec vinyl decking with no maintenance. They've even added a new color this year. It is pewter. It's a gorgeous gray color with a beautiful variation for that more natural look. Call Chesterfield Fence and Deck today, 636-532-4054 or chesterfieldfence.com.
Now, your Live Nation lineup.
Don't miss these upcoming shows. James Taylor, Hollywood Casino Amphitheater, June 6th, Styx and Foreigner. Hollywood Casino Amphitheater, June 18th, Earth, Wind and Fire and Chicago. Hollywood Casino Amphitheater, July 10th, The Smashing Pumpkins. Hollywood Casino Amphitheater, August 14th, and Billy Joel and Sting, Busch Stadium, September 27th.
For tickets and info, hit up livenation.com.
Mark Cox here. Join me, Annie Fry, and Mark Reardon, along with Thomas Helbig and Bob Kershaw of the Retirement Advisory Group for the next Protecting Your Retirement educational event. It's Thursday, May 16th at the Frontenac Hilton at 6:30. Seating is limited, so go online to retirementkey.com. Here's Thomas with more.
Are you close to retirement or already retired and wondering what to do with your life savings? Are you concerned about more market volatility the closer we get to the election? Would you like to know how linking to the market is smarter and safer than owning the market? Did you also know if you're 59 and a half or older, You can roll over your company retirement plan tax-free to protect your nest egg from any losses and provide more income than your current plan. You'll get all the answers and more. If you're 59 and a half or older, you can't afford to miss this event.
Protect that retirement nest egg. Join the official financial advisors of my show, Thomas Helbig and Bob Kershaw, Thursday, May 16th at the Frontenac Hilton at 6:30. Go online at retirementkey.com. That's retirementkey.com.
If you're thinking of selling your home, I'm sure there are two things you want: certainty and the most money, right? Hi, it's Mark Cox, and if you've been listening to me for some time, you know the only agent I trust is Gloria Liu with Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty, St. Louis real estate expert. Here's why she should be your first and only call when looking for an agent. Gloria doesn't make empty promises. No, she provides written guarantees. Now, what does this mean for you? Certainty. Now, certainty isn't the only thing you want. You also want the most money. Gloria is able to get her home sellers more money than the average agent because she already has the buyers. This is why Gloria will guarantee to sell your home at your agreed upon price, or she'll buy it. To get your guaranteed price, call St. Louis real estate expert Gloria Liu at 314-325-6888. That's 314-325-6888. Or visit GloriaHasTheBuyers.com. That's GloriaHasTheBuyers.com.
Conditions apply. Gloria and seller must agree on price and possession date.
More good news for Frederick Roofing, voted best roofing company by the St. Louis Post-Dispatch.
For a hole in your roof or a whole new roof, Frederick Roofing.
314-645-2000.
Today's YouTube live chat poll: will Joe Biden be the Democratic candidate on your November 2024 ballot? Now, my suggestion to you is, if you live overseas, don't vote in this one. But if you're right here in the red, white...
You could live overseas and have a ballot.
Oh, doggone it, you're right.
Clip that.
Good thing this doesn't make the podcast.
You could also live here and not be a citizen and probably get a ballot.
You know what? Just enjoy the poll today and do whatever you want. Will Joe Biden be the Democratic candidate on your November 2024 ballot? It's a yes or no question, so let us know. It is the Annie Fry YouTube live chat poll, 1247. This time check is sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating and Air Conditioning.
It's time for a $98 AC tune-up.
It's what's happening
And there's still no evidence whatsoever connecting Trump with any criminal wrongdoing.
right now.
U.S. weapons aid will not go to Israel.
Keeping you informed.
We have no leadership from Joe Biden.
St. Louis is home for conservative talk. 97.1 FM Talk. This is the Annie Fry Show.
When I wake up, well, I know I'm gonna be the man who wakes up next to you. When I go out, yeah, I know I'm gonna be the man who goes along with you. If I get drunk, well, I know I'm gonna be the man who gets drunk next to you. And if I haver, yeah, I know I'm gonna be the man who's havering to you. But I will walk 500 miles and
Wiggins!
Oh, Wiggins!
I like to bring you the science. I don't just bring science, I bring the science.
The science is easier to come by because you can just make it up.
That's right. Yeah, you just type in something
You are,
online.
You are the scientist.
You just go, hey, this looks pretty good. Let's go with that. The science says that this person says that they've studied happiness for 10 years. And these are 10 sentences she uses every single day to make her and everybody around her more happy.
Is she saying these to other people?
Yes.
Or is she like Stuart Smalley?
Say it in the mirror?
Yeah.
Singing it into the hairbrush? No, she is saying this to other people apparently every day, these 10 sentences. I don't know if she's picking like one a day or if she's doing all 10 every day. She didn't say. But here they are. Let me know if you think this would be a good idea to make people around you happy. Number one, how are you feeling really?
Yeah, I dare someone to say that to me. You better not say that to somebody if you don't want to know the answer. And you have to be the inner circle to say something like that.
Mm-hmm.
I would say that to you two. There are a few other people in this building. There's a couple other ones that I might say that to, but
I used to have a coworker before I worked here who would say this about everything. And it was real annoying because sometimes you had already said the way you felt. And he wasn't trying to be touchy-feely. He was like joking, like, well, how do you feel, really? And it was always like, dude, I just told you. The joke has been used. You use it a lot. Let's go past it. It didn't make me happier. I'm just going on record as number one being one that I didn't feel happier.
You'd have to hear that from somebody who knows that you are faking it.
Yeah.
Something happens at work, something has happened at home, and you're putting on because you're trying to get through the day, and it's somebody who you would feel comfortable to be like, I'm a mess. And then you could tell them that. Like, how do you feel really, really? And is answered by, I feel great.
Yeah.
Maybe,
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, it has to be reciprocal with those two people in that conversation where one person feels comfortable enough to ask and receive that information and make you feel better. Number 2, will you tell me more? Now, I could see this one being one that you use outside of your close personal circle, but...
Am I supposed to be thinking of this as something I should say to people? Or
Both.
things that people should say to me?
You can think of it either way. But I would like to know whether you would say that.
10
to
sentences
Brad or
you
me.
want to use if you want to be happy.
Yeah. So it is you using them, but also you could be the recipient as well.
I might say that to Brad.
Will you tell me more? Now, this is, of course, implying about your feelings, but it could be about anything.
Is it okay? I have a lot of questions.
It's implying. It's implying that it's about your feelings, but it doesn't have to be.
Oh, no, I don't want to have any of those conversations in this building.
Yeah.
None. Like literally less than 0 conversations about my feelings in this building.
Yeah. Number 3, tell me about your feelings. No, I'm just
I
kidding.
don't even have feelings.
Tell me why you don't have feelings. Number 3. This one is, I'm grateful for you.
That's okay.
Yeah.
As far as being the recipient, I would love to hear that. All
What are you
the
talking
time,
about? We say it all the time.
every day.
Man, I sound like a smoker.
At the end of every second.
I like a wheezy cough. I'm
Well,
sorry,
welcome
guys.
to my world. Number 4.
You have a condition.
Yeah,
I
do.
have a cold.
I do. Number 4, you're great.
Yeah, you're great. So is a segment.
Number 5, we've talked about this before.
You know, if somebody wrote to me like back in an email, "You're great," but they spelled your Y-O-U-R, I'd be so mad.
What about great, G-R-A-T-E?
It's different.
You're great.
Definitely a different concept.
They're just talking about your gutter work. Number 5, I forgive you.
I definitely think that's important.
Yeah, that's a good
I don't. This isn't just in the work environment. We're talking about it because that's how we know each other.
Yeah.
I think that makes a big difference. I've said this before, and I think it bears repeating, mostly because one of you told me that after you heard me say this, you parented your household differently, and it made a big impact, which is a huge thing for me to hear.
It would have to be me since Brad doesn't have kids.
One of you, as in the other people involved in the show, the listener.
Oh.
Hey, wait a second.
I was like, I know you're being a little vague here, but there's two people.
That people are listening to us right now? Because if you didn't, that would make some things make more
Is
sense.
that what this thing is? Oh, I didn't get that. I just thought I amplified
It's
my
always in
voice
your
so you
way.
guys could hear it better.
That in our house, when apologies are absolutely necessary, as they are in any household, Christian or secular, but I don't let my kids say it's okay. If they do something, it's a very common response. Everybody uses it. There's nothing like bad about saying it's okay. I'm sorry, it's okay. That's a complete conversation right there, and there's nothing particularly wrong with that. But there's a huge difference between saying it's okay and I forgive you, because I tell my kids, like, if your sister hits you and she apologizes to you, it wasn't okay that she hit you. Like, she did something wrong. She shouldn't have done it. She shouldn't do it again. It's not okay, but you can forgive her. And we, need to live in a society. I wish that we would emphasize more that things that are wrong are wrong, and they're not made to be okay. And there is some, you need to have some sort of remorse for doing wrong things, and it's okay for society in certain circumstances if it's been earned to apply that forgiveness. At least in a judicial way, it has to be earned, not necessarily in a biblical way. But I think that I forgive you is a spiritually magical phrase.
It also needs to be in the right setting, because if you say it before somebody even thinks they've done anything wrong, it could be the opposite effect. I forgive you. Oh, wait, of what? You You got to be careful. Number
Does
6.
that happen to you?
I can't say. I can't say to the people in this room. There are people listening,
I
as
forgive
I've
you,
just
Ryan.
learned. Number 6, keep going. I would like to hear all of these every single day.
Okay, give us the list.
Keep going.
Just hand it over.
Number 7, what do you need?
Yeah. Listen. People will. I want more time. People will. Please. I forgive you.
What?
You're supposed
Annie,
to say to me, keep going.
Keep going. Yeah, I was going to do it.
When somebody is emotionally, if there's a conflict of some sort, or like like something, and you can tell the person has an internal conflict, is upset about something, there's an emotional conflict, and so you offer suggestions of how to make that better, but you can tell that the problem that this person is having is an emotional one. It's not actually getting the A and the B and the C in the correct order. There is an emotional one. I am the type of person who's like, what if we do it this way? What if we do it that way? And I'll offer everything I have to offer to make it right. And when I realize that there is an emotional thing at play here that I can't fix, I'm going to unburden that person with the problem if I can, which is probably not the most emotionally sensitive place for me to be. I could probably be better at that. But as a very busy mom, and we're all very busy, sometimes I'm like, I can't fix this problem for you. Like, I'm trying to. I want you to see that I'm trying to help you, but I don't think that I have to offer you what you need. So let me unburden you with this, and then you can work on your emotional concerns.
Number 8, it's okay if this feels hard. Now, if you're in a really hard situation, I got to admit, that would be a great thing to hear.
That sounds very patronizing.
But
to me.
every day, it seems like a bit much to do every day. Number 9, last 2 here. You matter to me. Now, if that's from somebody you love, that's great. And actually, I can't figure out a circumstance where that would be bad unless you just are walking down the street and somebody said it. And
It's like, hey, you matter
to
to
me.
me.
You matter to me. Whoa,
Creepy.
man. Easy. Number 10, last one.
Did you do 9?
Yeah, that was that one.
Okay.
I love you. And I'm not just saying that.
I forgive you.
Keep going.
No, please don't.
How are you feeling, really?
I don't know. I'm feeling like I need to talk to Jim Carafano and talk about war. We'll be right back. Don't go away.
Hello, it's Mike Carter here. I don't know if you've ever heard of McNair Grade School over in the Hazelwood School District, but Alexander McNair was Missouri's first governor, and he's said to have been the only state official wearing a fashionable cloth coat when Missouri secured its statehood. The year was 1821, and most legislators were dressed in homespun clothes, fringed hunting shirts, and buckskin. Carter law offices are just a few blocks from the first state capitol down on Main Street in St. Charles, and like our state, we've grown over the years. But one thing we've never forgotten is our connection to the people of St. Charles County and our great state of Missouri. I'm Mike Carter, the founder of Carter Law Offices, and I also serve as general counsel to one of the largest employers in St. Charles County, and I'm a past director of the St. Louis Board of Realtors. I also serve as municipal judge for the fastest growing city in St. Charles County, and I have a news talk program on Fox and ABC called Justice and Journalism with me, Judge Mike Carter, where I interview today's state officials and newsmakers. Not many these days are dressed in buckskin, but they do answer to you the same way those elected officials did over 200 years ago. Check them out at MikeCarter.com.
I want to talk to you about Michael's Flooring Outlet.com and the locally owned and operated for decades flooring shop in St. Louis. I think shopping local is incredibly important, and I think that when you can go to people who are from this community, who have established these roots here in this community, you really get a great quality product, you get great customer service, and there is no sacrificing of that at Michael's Flooring Outlet. When you are looking for carpeting, they have the Mohawk Smart Strand line, among many other opportunities for you to look at different padding. You can experience the levels of padding under the carpet on their displays that they have. So you know what you're getting your investment from your investment, your hard-earned dollars. You can check out their Techwood Plus line of hardwood flooring, wider, longer planks. They have cleaner grades on those as well. They are in 3 different locations in St. Louis, in St. Charles County, West County, and Darting Prairie. Shop locally. Shop Michael's Flooring Outlet online at igotfloor.com.
KFTK FM Florissant. From the Under Law Injury Lawyers, GetJim.com studio. 97.1 FM Talk. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
No dice from the appeals court. I'm Therese Crowley, Fox News. Donald Trump started the day in court saying the gag must come off. A short time later, New York's appeals court rejected Trump's latest appeal, with the Trump defense team to begin cross-examination today of a New York State star witness, disbarred lawyer Michael Cohen. The state has yet to show evidence of a crime in the payment of Stormy Daniels.
In a ruling that came down from the New York State Appellate Court, former President Trump lost his appeal. The appellate court unanimously deciding and ruling that Judge Juan Merchan properly has restricted the former president from attacking jurors, witnesses, court staff, and members of the court staff's family. That includes Judge Juan Merchan's own daughter. She works for a political consulting firm in Chicago. That firm happens to do work for prominent Democrats, as well as directly for President Biden. The former president not allowed to do that. The appellate court saying that they basically were threats.
Fox's Eric Shawn in Donald Trump's corner at court today, former presidential candidate Doug Burgum.
The sooner that this scam trial can be concluded, the sooner that the president can get back to getting out, campaigning, and talking to the American people about the issues that matter to them.
President Biden capitalizing on Trump in court, offering rare Rose Garden remarks on the economy and jobs, and his new tariffs on Chinese aluminum, steel, and solar panels, declaring China will not flood the U.S. auto market. 102% tariffs on Chinese EVs.
The fact is, American workers can outwork and outcompete anyone, as long as the competition is fair. But for too long, it hasn't been fair. For years, the Chinese government has poured state money into Chinese companies across a whole range of industries.
As polls show, the president losing support on the economy and the war in Gaza with young Black and Hispanic voters. America's listening to Fox News.
I have diabetes. I'm at risk for pneumococcal pneumonia.
I have asthma. I'm at risk too.
If you're 19 or older with chronic conditions like asthma, diabetes, COPD, or heart disease, or are 65 or older, you are at increased risk for pneumococcal pneumonia. Ask your doctor or pharmacist about Prevnar 20, pneumococcal 20-valent conjugate vaccine, a Pfizer vaccine that can help protect you against pneumococcal pneumonia in just one dose. Even if you've already been vaccinated with other pneumonia vaccines, Prevnar 20 may help provide added protection. Prevnar 20 is approved for adults to help prevent infections from 20 strains of the bacteria that cause pneumococcal pneumonia. Continued approval may depend on a supportive study. Don't get Prevnar 20 if you've had a severe allergic reaction to the vaccine or its ingredients. Adults with weakened immune systems may have a lower response to the vaccine. Side effects include pain and swelling at the injection site, fatigue, headache, muscle, and joint pain. For full prescribing information, please call 1-855-213-2138 or visit Prevnar20.com.
Air Comfort Service, heating, cooling, and insulation, weather.
Our slow-moving low pressure still in play with periods of scattered showers and some thunder showers around going through the afternoon. Nothing severe, 72. Scattered showers and thunder showers around this evening. Slow clearing late night, 57. Wednesday is nice, gorgeous. Lots of sunshine, 75, with more developing showers and thunder showers Thursday and Friday. This is 97.1 FM Talk. Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
It's Pick Your Ticket time on The Mark Reardon Show. Earth, Wind, and Fire in Chicago. Train and REO. The Doobie Brothers. Need to Breathe. And OAR. Listen to win and then pick your show. Pick your ticket on The Mark Reardon Show. Weekdays from 3 to 6 p.m. It's not too late for a deep spring cleaning on your home. Give my friends at Zerorez a call. 314-474-2020. Schedule today and get 3 rooms of carpet cleaned for only $129 and take $50 off your air duct cleaning. Make sure to mention me, Mark Reardon. ZeroResSTL.com.
So this Thursday, May 16th, it's another Protecting Your Retirement educational event, and I want to see you there. I'll be there. Would love the opportunity to meet you for the 30 minutes before the event starts, and then you sit and you listen for about 45 minutes of Thomas Helbig, Bob Kershaw, Tammy Kershaw, all from the Retirement Advisory Group, give you free advice on how to make sure that you have protected your retirement, to help you make sure that you can have a worry-free retirement. That's what these events are about, just giving you information and snacks. I always think it's important to remind you that there are snacks. It's free, and it's not a long time throughout the evening. You do have to reserve your spot, though. So write this down in your calendar. This Thursday, just a couple of days from now, 6:30 p.m. is when the event begins. I'll get there at 6 along with Mark Cox and Mark Reardon. And all you got to do is reserve your spot to attend. 314-993-9494. 314-993-9494. Come see me. Come see the team. And, of course, come see Thomas Helbig and the Retirement Advisory Group for this free event. RetirementKey.com.
When you have Rhino Shield on your house, it does a couple of things for you. It beautifies the house and it protects it from the harshest elements. And boy, do we see those here in the greater St. Louis area. You get instant curb appeal. It will stick to anything. Rhino Shield is the answer, no matter whether you're painting a home or a church or a business or a condo, because it's 100% waterproof. It takes care of the outdoor maintenance on whatever is on the outside of your home. The brick, the block, aluminum, steel, stucco. They can put this on with the 2 to 3 coat process. They're there about a week, and they do a great job. A lot of businesses have done it in the area. Several Firestones have done that. Vantage Credit Union over the years, Harlan Packaging down in DeSoto. Call Darren today and schedule your free estimate. 877-25-RHINO, easy to remember phone number, or go online today at 877-25-RHINO.com. If you're planning a graduation party, let Grill Master Tony do the cooking. Mark Cox here, he can make his delicious brisket, his pulled pork or pulled chicken with all the sides. They'll make 10 people as important as 100. Plus, he does corporate lunches. Let Tony bring the grill to you. Hot dogs, hamburgers, chips, cookies, or you can customize it with their delicious brisket and delicious sides. Visit them and order today online at grillmastertony.com.
The Annie Fry Show YouTube live chat poll of the day is sponsored by Ruler Foods. Low prices, no coupons. Ruler Foods.
That is exactly what I needed to hear.
Thank God someone here knows what they're talking about.
That's us. That's right. Gotta love this American ride.
All right, you need to take the time and get the full picture.
Come on, turn the radio on. It's Saturday and I won't be long.
Don't get me wrong. I love the ladies. I mean, they rev my engine, but they don't belong in the newsroom. It is Anchor Man, not Anchor Lady.
What do you want from me? I'm not America's sweetheart.
Goodness sake, kid. Keep your voice down. Your father's listening to the radio.
I'm not America's sweetheart.
This is the Annie Fry Show.
No president has stood stronger with Israel than Joe Biden. He was the first president ever to visit Israel during wartime. He is protecting Israel at the United Nations. He mobilized a coalition to directly defend Israel against an unprecedented Iranian attack. He led the bipartisan effort to pass a supplemental that ensures Israel's defense and military edge for years to come. His commitment to Israel is ironclad. Ironclad doesn't mean you never disagree. It means you work through your disagreements, as only true friends can do.
So that's Jake Sullivan speaking about the ironclad support for Israel that President Biden keeps articulating, but also giving us the understanding of what ironclad support means. And, I think it's important to know that you're hearing this from the administration. It's important to say that we have support for Israel, but then I noticed that we are withholding arms from Israel. And of course, across the country, there are people who have been instigated by people like the president who have said to protesters at his own events that they have a point. It seems as though there are conflicting interests with the Biden administration abroad and politically at home. And Jim Carafano always does such a good job of parsing those. Senior counselor to the president and E.W. Richardson Fellow for International Engagement at the Heritage Foundation, Jim Carafano. Thanks for being with us again today. It's good to have you back.
So you remember your Greek mythology, and these guys are like going through the strait, and there's like a monster on either side, right? Mm. That's the Biden administration. So the reality is 100% America's Israel policy is driven by domestic politics, with the Biden administration literally trying to appease a radical Islamist wing of his own party that wants him to throw Israel under the bus and try desperately to hang on to liberal Jewish voters. On the other side is the reality of they literally cannot throw Israel overboard as an ally because it's literally suicidal for American interests. So literally what you have is a policy that is driven by domestic politics that looks at America's vital interests like some kind of inconvenient anchor holding us back. That's what's going on here. So when Jake Sullivan says that, he is enunciating this perfectly rational sounding policy, which works great in Jake's head, which nobody else in the world thinks is realistic. It's like Biden describing how they're managing the border issue when it's completely out of control, and they actually made it completely out of control. It all sounds great as long as you only listen to yourself.
I mean, it's quite a predicament that they found themselves in. And we can, of course, things happen in the world, conflicts happen in the world, and maybe America is pushed into a position of having to react, or maybe they didn't do something initially that they should have to try to prevent that. But it seems like what you're saying is this is a situation that the Biden administration finds themselves in of their own making.
Well, and this is the difference between Jimmy Carter and Joe Biden. Probably the most chaotic our foreign policy in the Middle East has been was, other than Barack Obama, was in the age of Jimmy Carter. That was because of incompetence. What we have now is we don't have Jimmy Carter's world. We don't have two political parties which both contain a mixture of Republicans and Democrats, which neither one had an Islamist wing, and which didn't have a party which is literally addicted, like crack cocaine, to massive funding from Democratic donors that want to overthrow the America that we have and give us the America that they want. Carter was just incompetent. Joe Biden is literally tethered to a machine which has a policy which actually runs counter to American interests, but it has money and political power, and it's actually put the yahoos in charge in Antifa and BLM and the Hamas rioters, and it is letting them run wild through the streets.
It's a perfect storm. And listening, when we look on our own streets here in the United States of America, our college campuses, and we see the anti-American sentiment that is persistent, I want to give you the opportunity, as briefly or as long-winded as you like, because I'm interested in how you articulate this, about the land, about the existence of Israel, the existence of Palestine, and what we hear from a lot of these protesters very consistently. It is very organized. Tell us what we need to know about the existence of Israel, the geography of it, the location, the creation of it, whose land it is, and how that involves these American protesters and politicians here stateside.
Right. Yeah, before I do want to, because I'm trying to think of a succinct way to describe Biden's foreign policy. And if you remember the movie Goodfellas,
mm-hmm.
it's the guy that asked the mobsters to buy into his bar. And then in the end, they burn the bar to the ground after they bankrupt the guy.
No, that's not.
This is Joe Biden. It's like asking George Soros and Bill Gates and Hamas and all these people to buying into all that, and then he's shocked when they burn the bar to the ground. Look, so Israel was a desert which was given as a mandate to the British government to monitor after the collapse of the Ottoman Empire, World War I. It was literally the land nobody wanted. The people that moved there were poor and had no place else to go. And a handful of European Jews who were being driven out of Europe. And they lived side by side. During World War II, 14 different armies fought in Italy on the side of the Allies. Palestinians and Jews served in Britain under the Allies side by side. Palestinians fought alongside Jews and served alongside Jews in the British Army. And what happened in 1948 when the mandate was coming to an end was they said, okay, the British said, we can't sustain this anymore. We're leaving. Here's our idea. Jews take part of this and have a state. Palestinians take part of this and have a state. The Jews said, fine. The Palestinians, principally because of the influence of the surrounding countries, said no. So it was, Jordan for the Palestinians, Israel for the Jews. Everybody around them said no. I mean, and this started this notion of somehow the Jews had taken land for the Palestinian people. Most of the Palestinians that left in 48 left voluntarily. They weren't driven out by the Jews. They chose to leave. Those that stayed actually thrived and lived fine. Nobody told them to abandon their land and leave Israel. It's like, okay, you're not giving us a separate state. We're declaring our own state. If you want to stay here and be part of it, fine. If you don't, leave. And they left. So this notion that somehow the Jews took the land of the Palestinians is completely false. They would have never asked for the West Bank and Gaza, except that they were invaded twice, and they took the land to protect themselves. And the reality is many Palestinians, Arabs today, live in Israel. They live fine. They serve in the Knesset. They're on the Supreme Court. They have businesses. There is no reason why they can't live side by side. It has really been foreign influences, to be honest, that have really fueled this notion. And it was, for many years, the Egyptians and the Syrians and everybody else. They all kind of gave up on this thing, except for one group who stepped, and this is ironic, right? Because most of these people are Sunni. Who steps in and keeps the fires burning? The Iranians, the Shias, right? They step in and they're literally paying and underwriting this war. You know, it used to be underwritten by the Arabs, and then it was underwritten by the Russians, and now it's underwritten by Iran. And the Palestinian people have always been the plaything of foreign influences and power, and they are the victims of their own people, their own oppressors. If you think about the Quislings in different countries in Eastern Europe, where the Russians came in and they took over and they put yahoos in charge, they said, here, oppress your own people, shoot them, kill them, put them in jail, rob them blind. Go ahead, do that, right? That's what happened to the Palestinians. And that's where we are right today.
What interest does Iran have in fanning the flames and keeping the chaos going? Are the Iranians pro-Palestinian, or are they anti-Israel, or is there self-interest?
The Iranians are pro-Iranians. The Iranians would like to recreate the Persian Empire and create a massive Islamic state, which theoretically would include all the borders of what they would see as a traditional Islamic land, which would include big parts of Europe. But that's their goal. Remember, this is a revolutionary government that lives to perpetuate this perfect form of the Islamist state. And there were two things standing in their way, the Israelis and the Americans. And you destroy the Israelis, you take away America's foothold in the region, and then you run wild. And if you say, well, how is this happening? It's, Joe Biden came in and he literally let the inmates out of the asylum. He literally told the Iranians, I will give you anything you want as long as you behave. Now, this would be like inviting Hannibal Lecter into your house and said, make full use of the kitchen, just don't eat my children. Oh. How's that going to turn out?
That's not a risk I'd be willing to take. Is there an American interest, a Democrat Party, Biden, Obama interest in subsidizing or appeasing Iran that is also in America's best interest?
No. And this is the two parts of stupid in the Biden administration. There are two kinds of people in the administration. There are people in the administration who are genuinely stupid, who believe that placating and buying off your enemies is a strategy that actually works. And then there are people in the administration which are actually cool with the Islamist agenda, and like Robert Malley, and want to support it. And they make common cause. This is like there were two kinds of communists in America in the 1930s. There were people who actually thought having a communist socialist state would really be cool. And there were people that said, well, you know what, we're communists, but we're actually working on behalf of the Soviet Union. And they work together. And that's what we're seeing in this government. We have the stupid and the evil combining together, both thinking that the answer is more Iran, more Houthis, more Hezbollah, more Hamas, that's going to make a better, more peaceful world.
Last question. We're speaking with Jim Carafano right now. Is the antidote to the current situation that America finds itself in and the world finds itself in the Trump policy on Iran, or is it not so simple to just go back to what it was because of what has transpired in the last 4 years?
Well, it's not going to go back to what it was, but I think it will go back to something similar. And the two things are this. One is you squash Iran like a bug. I don't mean you invade it. I don't mean regime change, but you literally take away, and the Iranian regime is very predictable. When they find themselves at risk, they become much more cautious and risk averse, and they pull in their claws. So that's one thing. And the other thing is you forget about the Palestinian two-state solution, because the only thing that's going to save the Palestinian people is when all the foreign actors that are instigating them no longer have power and influence to do that, and the Palestinian people have to figure out that the only way they can survive is to just make peace and live quietly, and then everything will be fine.
Well, so you're saying there's a chance. It's doable. Just got to have that policy shift, and it probably has to be pretty dramatic and pretty quick.
I lived through the Cold War. I mean, I remember being born into a world where the idea of being able to stand up, walk across the Brandenburg Gate was something that was never going to happen in my lifetime, where the notion where I would visit countries like Poland or, Romania, or this would never happen, and there would never be democracies in these places. I lived through that for half of my life, and then one day, overnight, it stopped. So I am the ultimate optimist. But, it works both ways. There are places in Europe that were wonderful and awesome, and then a couple of years later, they were deporting Jews and sending them to gas chambers. So Reagan said it best. The loss of freedom is only a generation away, and it works the other way too.
Wow.
The promise of freedom is only a generation away.
Jim Carafano, always a pleasure. Thanks for being with us.
Thanks for having me.
Of course. Bye-bye. He is with Heritage Foundation and one of my favorite voices on the issues that we face as Americans across the globe and also at home. Always good to have Carafano back on the show. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, that poll question, it always finds its way back into, it's always lingering in my head. And if you listen to the show regularly, you know where I am on this issue. I'm asking you, and I'm telling you right now, it is very close right now on the poll. So we need to have your thoughts, your input, and your comments on this question. Will Joe Biden be the Democratic candidate on your November 2024 ballot? Chris said there's no way Biden will be the nominee. Still afraid of Michelle. Erica said, I voted no. The polls should be terrifying the Democratic leadership, and they will see Biden as a sinking ship. I do think Biden won't go out quietly, though. And Andy said, I voted no, but if they were smart, they would get someone else in there. We'll see what you think on the Andy Fry YouTube channel. Vote in the poll. Leave a comment. We'll be right back. For you, I guess you're getting everything you want. You bought a new car and your career's... Jen Teskey is a realtor with Remax Alliance, and she's just one phone call or text message away so that you, trying to list your home on the Illinois side of the river or buy a home on the Illinois side of the river, can navigate this crazy market with ease. Jen Teskey is an asset, a major asset, when it comes to having the very best mind and work ethic, getting the job done for you. 618-541-1010, 618-541-1010. She has a dedication that is second to none. She has a team and a staff that is second to none, and her results absolutely speak for themselves. You want somebody who has a really good understanding of the area. So if you're on the Illinois side, specifically in the Edwardsville, Glen-Carbon, Maryville, Troy, Collinsville, and surrounding areas, when you work with Jen Teskey, she knows the lay of the land, literally. She knows how to position your home for the best sale and for top dollar. She knows if you're looking to buy a home, what the home is worth, to make sure that you negotiate the things you need to negotiate to get a purchase that you are really excited and proud of. 618-541-1010, online at jenteskeyhomes.com.
Are you ready to smell better naked? I'm Dr. Shannon Klingman, the OBGYN creator of Lumi, the whole body deodorant that's clinically proven to control odor for 72 hours on pits, feet, privates, and beyond. It's pH optimized to safely and effectively control odor anywhere you have it, but wish you didn't. Plus, it's proven to work better than a shower with soap alone. Whether you shower twice a day or 3 times a week, Lumi works better. And who doesn't want zero body odor? With over 200,000 5-star reviews, I'm so sure you're going to love it, or you can return it for free.
There's a special offer for listeners. Use code 500 and get 15% off your first purchase with code 500, like the Lumi Starter Pack, Acidified Body Wash, or new Lumi Plus Sweat Control. That's LUMEdeodorant.com, code 500 for 15% off your first purchase. Love it or return it for free. That's LUMEdeodorant.com, code 500 to save 15% today.
We're entering remodeling season. If you've considered new windows, let me recommend my friends at Window World. Mark Cox here. Here's the great thing about Window World. Not just the preferred window of our hometown St. Louis Blues. They're now the official window of the world champion Kansas City Chiefs. So if you're considering replacement windows, this is the company you want to work with. I'm a satisfied customer. I've got 2 other windows in my master bathroom. We couldn't be happier with those. They have a lifetime warranty that covers all the parts, all the glass breakage and labor. There's a reason why in just over 20 years of business, they've improved the look and thermal efficiency of 72,000 plus customers in the greater St. Louis area. A Window World is fantastic. The windows are so durable. Not only do they stand behind their windows, at the showroom, they actually stood on a window right in front of me. You're going to love it. 314-993-1800. That's 314-993-1800 or windowworld.com.
Hello, Mike Carter here. I wonder if you knew that after the purchase of the Louisiana Territory in 1804, a formal 3-flag ceremony was held in St. Louis to mark the transfer. The Spanish flag lowered and the French tricolor raised. That in turn was lowered the next day and the flag of the young Republic of the United States stood tall. I'm Mike Carter of Carter Law Offices here, and at that moment the people living here went from being subjects to being citizens of a great free nation. Jump ahead 220 years to what we have become, and over 6 million men, women, and children now call Missouri home. Our largest cities are an economic powerhouse, and our small towns and family farms remain the heart of the nation. A friend wrote me one time at Carter Law Offices, "Hey, Mike Carter, why don't Missouri residents show their pride by flying our state flag more often like the folks in Texas?" I was like, that's a really great idea. And I was thinking, maybe anybody who's listening to this, if you want to send me an email at mike@carterlegal.com with your name and address if you're okay doing so, and I'll send you a free state flag, and you can hang it out on your front porch and show everybody you're as proud of Missouri as I am.
Hey, it's Mark Reardon for the Doctors of Ophthalmology Associates. I depend on them for eye care, and they have an announcement. They're pleased to welcome Dr. Samuel Berry to their practice. Dr. Berry is a cornea surgeon, and he has the latest knowledge and techniques for advanced eye care and treatment in the field. So what do we call them now? The doctors? No, just the best doctors to see for your best vision. In St. Louis, you can reach them at 314-966-5000. They've treated more than 250 doctors, more than any others in the practice. Now, if you need help with dry eye, LASIK surgery, maybe you have glaucoma, macular degeneration. I had an eye disease when I was just 25 years old, so my eyes are very important to me. You get the absolute best care with the Doctors of Ophthalmology Associates. Doctors Greg Birdie, Ranjan Malhotra, Robert Bersati, Andy Royer, and now Dr. Samuel Berry. 314-966-5000 or visit youridoc.com. They have a great location just off Manchester Road, a half-mile west of 270. Ophthalmology Associates.
For details and a list of all station contest rules, visit www.971talk.com/rules.
You're listening to the Annie Fry Show live from the Air Comfort Service Heating, Cooling, and Insulation Studio. If you're not sure who to call for air conditioning services, contact the team at Air Comfort Service. With 55 years of experience and thousands of 5-star reviews, you can trust them with the comfort of your home. Visit aircomfortservice.com.
St. Louis's home for conservative talk.
The Mark Reardon Show.
Will Sharf is back with us.
The mainstream media is very, very good at spinning these legal cases against President Trump to their benefit.
Weekdays from 3 to 6 on 97.1 FM Talk. This is the Annie Fry Show.
Welcome back to the Annie Fry Show. We had a question from Nick on the Annie Fry YouTube channel, and I was just checking the YouTube because the poll is incredibly close, and we're going to discuss that here in a second. The poll is, will Joe Biden be the Democratic candidate on your November 2024 ballot? Super close. Usually these aren't close. And my recollection was the last time that we did this poll, Brad, wasn't the fact that Biden would be on. What percentage did you think he had for that? Would be the nominee?
Oh, man. I feel like it was really close, but I think it was like 51% or something.
You think it was that close the last time we did it? I thought it was like 60, 70. It's slowly gone closer to maybe he won't be, which is interesting that the closer we get, the more people are scratching their head. So we need to know what you think, and you can leave a comment. But the question we got from Nick on our YouTube channel, Nick wants a Ryan Shire Wigglesworth wellness check, and I thought now would be a good time to ask him. How are you doing?
Yeah, he comes out every now and then when things are getting a little chuffed, when the knackers are gutted.
What does Ryan Shire Wigglesworth think about Joe Biden's shot at being the nominee in November for the Democratic Party?
Joe Biden is as square can be. And I'm using this term in the American sense. There are times that I'm like, this is so stupid. Like, what is this?
There are times.
There are times. This character that just how many characters do we do? Well, okay. All right. How many characters just come out in the course of a week?
One.
And then that one got named, and I got to remember how he talks.
I mean, it was literally years ago.
Yeah, it was just some random thing where I was like, look at the television or something, and then be like, oh, that's Ryan Shire Wigglesworth. And now, every now and then, people are like, how's Ryan Shire doing?
It's been a while.
It has been a while.
I appreciate Nick for asking that question.
It's been a wiki ticket. It's like a combination of Sean Connery and
that?
I don't know.
And Bane.
I don't know. I don't even know if you can say bloody. Like, that's a word that I'm like, in America, it's okay. But if you say it like it's bloody, you're like, I don't know if that's a cuss word or not.
It's a good thing you didn't say it
Good thing
4
I didn't,
times
yeah.
on the air. What do you think? Biden the nominee? Brad Shire?
Brad Shire.
Go ahead, you do it.
Do Brad Shire.
Yeah.
No.
This is much more eloquent.
No.
Yeah.
No, I don't think he will. I'm still a no. I've been a no since the beginning. I'm still a no. I will remain a no until he actually is the nominee because I just can't see him making it that far. I think he's just going to get exhausted and something health-wise is going to come over him, and that's going to be that.
What would you do if he came out and said, you know what? I am okay. Mentally, I'm fine. I'm telling you what, though. I am 81 years old, and I am just exhausted.
This gout is killing me.
Yeah, something else, something
done.
random. Just anything. You know, I really do. The nap thing's true, and I need more naps. I'm going to hand this over to Kamala. I'm mentally fine. But
you know what, though? I think she is the reason. She is the reason this hasn't taken place yet already.
Yeah.
I think that, I don't know.
It's been a good pick then.
Yeah, if it was a stellar, ace
super smart
move or an accidental genius, but whatever it is, people are like, now, the only problem we have to solve is how do we not make Kamala Harris the next nominee? Because people don't like her.
You think?
I think, therefore I am.
Thank you for that.
The nominee continues to be, always has been, continues to be Joe Biden until you guys see that he is on your ballot. I am sticking by it. And my opinion has not changed, that he will still be the nominee.
Are you going to be shocked if he's not?
Shocked is hard because we've talked about it so much that it's like
it's okay if
planting
it's
the seed that, okay, it's possible, but...
Do you want to tell me more?
You guys, you're making me feel better. Thank you.
We appreciate you.
Thank you very much. I forgive you.
Speak for yourself, Brad. Just kidding.
You're great.
I think you're great.
Thank you. Please cut that, somebody.
I forgive you.
Thank you. I will be surprised. I can't say I'll be shocked because it's such a possibility because people keep talking about it. And you can see that he's, even in the 4 years that he's been in office, he has deteriorated badly.
Yeah.
If you listen to
He
him in
didn't
2020.
start really above par.
No, but even compared to listening to when he was in the basement in 2020, you can tell a difference. You can play a clip and know when it was.
Oh, man. I think we should have drug tests for presidents.
Okay.
I think that if you are juicing the president, if the president has to juice in order to perform, that we should know. I'm not even saying that they shouldn't be able to use performance-enhancing drugs. But if they are using it, I think that voters should have to understand the situation. You remember when Donald Trump would go get his physical and they're like, I think they reported him at like 245 or something like that as his weight, and I don't know, 6'3" or something. They went on and on and on and on and on, like, oh yeah, 245. Like they're obsessed with it. I really believe the president is doping on something in order to function as a human, not as a president, but as a human. He's in charge of a lot of things. And I think voters should know going into the election, this is what kind of medications the president takes.
I do too. I think that he should make that a tentpole to his campaign. Look, do you want a president who is just coming out every day on the average, or do you want somebody who is taking every steroid in the book? Because this
I've
guy's
seen
on
some
him.
things. I'm just like you.
Exactly, yeah. Look, we all do speed before big speeches.
I don't know if it's speed. I don't know that it's not.
But, I mean, I think if he makes that a big part of his campaign, I'm not sure that's a losing issue for him.
I mean,
I love putting you in that position. Like, just stop. Now, what do you say to that?
I was hoping to look down at the sound sheet and find something to go to next.
Okay. Here's Joe Biden 2020. Here's Joe Biden 2024.
There's no justification that Joe Biden is good for the country.
No.
He's had 3.5 years, and he's busted everything up that he's been allowed to come near, or that his cue cards have come near. He can't, he spoke at, I don't know if it was an auto workers or a jobs thing that was like at 11:45, and Brad texted me. He's like, do we want to take this speech? And I don't want to take the speech because you can't understand half the things he says. It helps to be able to see him when he speaks, to understand, like, you can see the lips moving.
The squint.
And if you can't understand it, this is the conundrum that not just a programming call on the station, but if you can't see the president's mouth when he's talking, it's hard to understand what he's saying.
Yeah.
I mean, that's not matter.
It ain't good for radio. It's weird because, like you said, there's not really anything that they can figure. Like the professional communicators on Morning Joe, for instance, they try as they may, they can't really figure out a talking point that'll stick of anything that he's done. So they'll say things like, "Oh, he's the most legislatively accomplished president." And you're like, what does that even mean?
He passed a lot of stuff.
You know, he spent a lot of your money.
Congress.
Yeah.
And the cue cards.
And he had a fully Democrat Congress for 2 years. And so, yeah, they passed a lot of spending bills.
You cannot make the case. I mean, I talk to Democrats regularly because I have close people who are to me who, you know, when you talk one-on-one with a Democrat, they say very unflattering things about Joe Biden. And most of them will say, I'm still voting for him over Trump. But Joe Biden has earned none of that. Donald Trump has positioned himself in a way that he is, on a policy basis, opposite of what leftists are. And the media has positioned Trump in a way that he is completely irredeemably unlikable. Based on lies in a lot of cases. There are some things about Donald Trump that are unlikable, but it is in no way, shape, or form outside of the realm of unsavory things that traditionally go along with the person who's the president of the United States. I mentioned this yesterday, but it bears repeating. Ashley Biden's diary has been, she confirmed that it's her diary. She wrote in her diary that she remembers showering with Joe Biden when she was, I think she was like 10, but she was a child, showering with Joe Biden, and she writes down that those showers were inappropriate. And she talks about how she was raised in a hypersexualized environment and talks about some things in great detail that are just really heartbreaking to think about somebody reflecting on their childhood in the way that she was reflecting on it. But the idea, like, if, because this is a Joe Biden story, but if you do the converse, and Ivanka had written in a diary somewhere and verified it to be true that Donald Trump was doing that type of a thing. I'm not even putting the sentence together because I don't want anyone to clip it and use that in and of itself as something against the former president. But if the allegation, like Joe Biden and Joe Biden's daughter, of him taking inappropriate showers being made to be known through the child's own words in a diary that she has verified as true, if you flip that on its head and that were about Ivanka and her father, holy smokes. I mean, it would be like breaking news that would be weeks-long coverage. And it would be enough to push anybody who is sick and tired of the way Biden is driving this country into the basement to go back to their Trump's not the right guy. I can't do it. I don't love what Biden's doing, but this guy, I can't. That's one major story. And the other major story is, do you know how Jill Biden and Joe Biden started dating? Jill Biden was married. I get it. Right now we're watching a court case where the trash that is Michael Cohen is the star witness for a sham prosecution against Donald Trump, where the actual crime in charge is so confusing, it's hard for people to even articulate. But the point of this trial is to smear Donald Trump because Donald Trump did some stuff that's inappropriate. When we live based on some sort of moral expectation culturally, why is an election season the only time that we culturally try to pretend like we have some moral standards when it comes to sexual relationships, monogamy, and honoring oaths that we make to one another through the institution of marriage? Because it doesn't matter crap outside of an election. We are actually encouraging people to break down every barrier, every norm that goes around that individual family unit where you have one man and one woman coming together to create a family, to raise children, to be monogamous, to be faithful to one another, to uphold one another, and to invest in one another. That is something that is looked at by our cultural standards as totally yesterday, totally passé, totally something that we should destroy because those type of traditional norms are not healthy to the progressive movement of this society. Oh, but it's an election year. Let's apply those standards to Joe Biden and Donald Trump. If you want to apply those standards and you apply them equally, they both fall below the line. But yet here they are, your two options. Maybe not.
But they don't even care about it. Like, they literally don't care about it. Like you said, it's just a political thing because this is the same group of people that went after Mike Pence for refusing to have dinner alone with a woman who wasn't his wife.
Yeah.
Do you guys remember that?
Yeah.
All the hubbub and this is crazy and how can a woman get ahead in that organization and blah, 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 blah. And now Donald Trump allegedly has a tryst with a porn star, and they're like, this is just unheard of. I cannot believable. It's ridiculous.
And again. This doesn't redeem Donald Trump. And, here's a real shocker. Besides the presidency, Donald Trump is redeemable. This doesn't redeem Donald Trump. But in the secular world that we live in, Donald Trump has never pretended to be somebody he's not. He's always presented himself to be probably wealthier than filthy rich. How rich he was and how rich he presented himself, he amplified that. He probably portrayed himself to be more of a playboy than he actually was, but he was probably some element of playboy from time to time. More bombastic than maybe he actually is in his real life, because when you hear about how he talks to people and treats people in real life, he actually is pretty attentive and generous and present when he talks to people, regardless of how, air quotes, important those people might be. That's what you call branding and imaging, and Donald Trump has been doing that forever, and he's never pretended to be the choir boy, the Catholic schoolboy from Scranton, Uncle Joe, who, has always tried to do things the right way. And sometimes, if you got to put your dukes up and fight, take someone out, that's just the way we used to do things. But this kind of like old rough and ready American church boy, schoolboy type of thing that Joe Biden has presented to people, the stuff that you can find out about Joe Biden that's not talked about is disgusting. And you look at his family. I mean, if you look at the turmoil that his family has gone through, the decisions that his family have made around him, they're very questionable decisions. And if you look at the Trump family and the Trump kids, they're very successful children. But if you followed the media during the Trump years, the Trump kids were all messed up and the Bidens were this glorious American family, and everything was laid out in front of you and presented to you so that you'd try to make the perceived right decision come November 2020. And if you couldn't make it, they would surround that decision with the most possible chaos that they could possibly muster. When we come back, I'm going to play some Trump sound for you. We're talking about that chaos. Is it coming back? Do you think that there is something? We don't have a ton of time between now and the actual election. Certainly there is some time, 175 days between now and November. And are we going to see some of that chaos and turmoil that was thrust upon the country in 2020? Let's hear what Donald Trump had to say about it when we come back. Don't go away.
Forget about me.
You're listening to The Annie Fry Show on St. Louis's home for conservative talk. Find the podcast, on-demand audio, and more at 971talk.com/Annie.
I want to talk to you about Ruler Foods and how much they have helped us here in May. May's a crazy month. Is May not one of the most bonkers months of the year? There's so much going on. We're going to track meets, filling up coolers with refreshments and fresh produce, and you can save on all of that stuff when you do visit Ruler Foods. Avocados and mangoes, 47 cents each. Raspberries and blackberries, 6-ounce packages. You can also get Kroger Purified Drinking Water, a 24-pack, 2 for $5. So if you do have to fill a cooler for a baseball game, for a track meet, for some sort of camping trip or excursion, save money on everything that you purchase when you go to Ruler Foods. They do have the extra discounts that they feature each week located on their website, and they can also guide you to the Ruler Foods that's closest to you or closest to a place that you're going to be by just typing in your zip code there on the website. Ruler Foods has savings to shout about, and you can learn about them every time you go to shop online at rulerfoods.com.
Your garage door is always there for you, rain or shine. Are you taking your garage door for granted? Is it screeching and whining for attention? Trust Overhead Door Company of St. Louis to keep your garage door reliable. Maybe the old weather stripping needs replaced to keep out the cold and hot air. Call Overhead Door Company of St. Louis, trusted here since 1926. For same-day service, call 314-781-5200 and schedule online at overheaddoorsstlouis.com.
You know, there's a sign I keep in my office that reads, "Remember where you came from." Well, Mike Carter here of Carter Law Offices. We all remember where we grew up, the schools we attended, and the streets we played on, and the friends we made. The Carter family has deep roots in Missouri. There was a Civil War captain from St. Charles County who became sheriff of Lincoln County. My own grandparents had a farm down in Carter County where I spent a couple boyhood summers riding a pig, to and fro. For myself, Mike Carter, I was raised in North County, and before you ask, I went to Hazelwood West High School. Growing up, my parents taught me that if I studied and worked hard, good things were sure to follow. And like many of you, I went to Mizzou, working my way through college, bussing tables, driving for UPS. Then I graduated law school, founded Carter Law Offices, and serve now as a municipal judge and general counsel of the largest employer in St. Charles County. But I never forget North County, where I came from, and the people and places that we all remember that make us who we are. Go to MikeCarter.com and check out some interviews from some other people across the great state of Missouri.
Hey, it's Mark Reardon. If you're nearing retirement or already retired, call my friends Thomas Helbig and Bob Kershaw with the Retirement Advisory Group. They'll show you how linking to the market is much safer than owning the market for your retirement savings. They're the official financial advisors of my show. Go to retirementkey.com.
Mark Cox here. If you're planning your next outdoor project, I can save you some money right now, thanks to my friends at Chesterfield Fence and Deck. If you call them and mention my name, they'll give you 48 months interest-free financing on your next outdoor project with Chesterfield Fence and Deck. It's that easy. 636-532-4054, or just go to chesterfieldfence.com. You're going to love working with this company. They've been under the same ownership since 1968. They take a lot of pride in what they do, and it's the sign you have the very best. They do wood fences, vinyl fences, same with decks. They can do a beautiful natural cedar deck, or they can use that Vecadec vinyl decking with no maintenance. They've even added a new color this year. It is pewter. It's a gorgeous gray color with a beautiful variation for that more natural look. Call Chesterfield Fence and Deck today, 636-532-4054 or chesterfieldfence.com.
Will Joe Biden be the Democratic candidate on your November 2024 ballot? Yes or no? That's the subject of today's Annie Fry YouTube live chat poll. Let us know what you think. This one is a close one, so we need your vote. 149, this time check is sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating and Air Conditioning.
It's time for a $98 AC tune-up.
It's Pick Your Ticket time on The Mark Reardon Show. Earth, Wind, and Fire in Chicago. Train and REO. The Doobie Brothers. Need to Breathe. And OAR. Listen to win and then pick your show. Pick your ticket on The Mark Reardon Show. Weekdays from 3 to 6 p.m.
This is the Annie Fry Show. Follow Annie on Twitter @AnnieFryShow.
The left-wing lunatics are trying very hard to bring back COVID lockdowns and mandates with all of their sudden fear-mongering about the new variants that are coming. Gee whiz, you know what else is coming? An election. They want to restart the COVID hysteria so they can justify more lockdowns, more censorship, more illegal drop boxes, more mail-in ballots, and trillions of dollars in payoffs to their political allies heading into the 2024 election. Does that sound familiar? These are bad people. These are sick people we're dealing with. But to every COVID tyrant who wants to take away our freedom, hear these words: we will not comply. So don't even think about it. We will not shut down our schools. We will not accept your lockdowns. We will not abide by your mask mandates. And we will not tolerate your vaccine mandates.
I have a theory, and I am waiting for the Trump campaign to do this. I think one of the most effective things that Donald Trump could do as a candidate is go to the American people in a video like this and make a promise to the American people, every single American out there, that should he be reelected to be the president of the United States, he will publicly release all the information that he has access to regarding the genesis of COVID-19, who knew what, who paid for what, when did they know it, and how did the American government, under his watch and then after he left office under the Biden's watch, how did they manage what the American people could consume about COVID? Let it all out, good and bad. I think that if he comes out and he says, I know that a lot of this initially took place while I was still the president, and I know since then that there have been things that were done and discussed and acted upon that were kept from me, and it is going to be my duty as the president of the United States to return the operation of this bureaucratic governmental system to the oversight of the American people. And I will make known the things that I did not know, the decisions that were made based on information that could be potentially owned by particular bureaucrats in the government. I will release it all. How much would you like to know who knew what and when, and who was profiting to what extent off of the understanding of a COVID-19 pre-2020, leading up to 2020, for how long, and who profited what since then? Because I truly believe that there are likely trials that need to happen, answers that need to be given, and justice that needs to be served in the wake of what was done before.
I would love to see all of that. My concern is that for him to get it, he is going to have to, and I'm not saying that he can't do this. I think that he should and maybe even will do this should he be elected. He would have to go into the headquarters of these agencies and basically say, everybody stop, shut down your computers, I'm taking them all, because the people who've hit it, a lot of them are still there. So it's going to be tough for him to get that info, but he's got to do it. I mean, that's one of the reasons that people support him, is because he is willing to go in and do very, very extreme things to gut out the garbage that still exists in Washington.
Expose it all.
Everything, not just even COVID, but anything and everything. Expose everything.
He's going to run up against some resistance.
Heck yes, he will. That's what worries me.
Well, and like you said, he would have to go in and be like, everybody stop what you're doing. These computers are ours now. Those computers, the moment he's elected, that information is gone.
If it's not already.
And when they start the investigations, when they start the trials, when they start all that, they're like, we cannot locate this information. How many times have we heard that about different things? We went to look for it, and it wasn't there. They cover their tracks. They destroy their evidence. I mean, Rand Paul's been bird-dogging Fauci pretty good, and I think that maybe he's really the key to all of this. But, yeah, I want to know everything. I want to know if it was an accident. I want to know if it was an on purpose. I want to know if you were trying to do something good and you screwed up. and then you tried to cover your tracks for that. I don't care what it is. I want to know why you jacked with my life so much.
Here's the rest of his
They
message.
rigged the 2020 election, and now they're trying to do the same thing all over again by rigging the most important election in the history of our country, the 2024 election, even if it means trying to bring back COVID. But they will fail because we will not let it happen. When I'm back in the White House, I will use every available authority to cut federal funding to any school, college, airline, or public transportation system that imposes a mask mandate or a vaccine mandate. Thank you very much.
I say let's go. Let's expose it all. And I don't know if the president will be willing to do that. I understand that you know, a lot of presidential candidates will say, like, this is what I'm going to do. And then they get in and they find out a little bit more. And then they realize, oh, this is why the American people can't know. There has to be some real exposure on truth. And, you know, when you can see the documents, when you can see the communications, part of this is what we talked to Andrew Bailey about with the Trump prosecutions. He's pressuring the DOJ to release documents about communications that took place, suggesting that there would have been collusion on the Trump prosecution across the different trials that he's facing. If you could see the emails that they were sending from one person to the next about how they were going to coordinate, those emails speak for themselves. They need to be made front and center. And we can't rely, unfortunately, on this version of our media across the board to really dig deep and expose truth, because everybody has too much of an angle. I think that we're going to have to rely on Donald Trump personally making this a goal of his. And it probably doesn't just stop with what happened in 2020 with COVID. There's probably a lot more exposing that needs to be done. Pull all the weeds. That's what I say. Stick around, more in the 2 o'clock hour, including wrapping up the very, very close results on whether or not Joe Biden will be the Democratic candidate on your November ballot. We'll be right back.
Do you have any idea how much of your personal information is sold to unscrupulous people online? If you knew, you'd be shocked. But JoinDeleteMe.com can help you take back control of your data. Corporations called data brokers make big money compiling important information about you and then selling it to anyone and everyone. Scammers, potential stalkers, identity thieves, and worse, people who can ruin your life. But JoinDeleteMe.com scours the web, removes the personal information you don't want seen, and prevents data brokers from selling the information which could hurt you, your family, or your reputation. You'll get regular reports detailing what they found and removed. And JoinDeleteMe.com isn't AI. It's real people working to keep your data safe. Keep your private life private with JoinDeleteMe.com. Today, get 20% off your Delete Me plan when you go to JoinDeleteMe.com/save and use promo code SAVE at checkout. Go to JoinDeleteMe.com/save and enter code SAVE at checkout. That's JoinDeleteMe.com/save, code SAVE.
Gain peace of mind that your flooring and carpet installation will be done right the first time when you hire the experts at Michael's Flooring Outlet. They give all their clients attentive personal service, even bring toys for the kids of the household. It's a family-owned and operated business for 25-plus years. They make sure you make the right choice for your home. So if you have carpets or hard floors, you're going to be happy for years to come. 3 convenient locations in St. Charles County, 116 Main Street, in Old Town St. Peters at Mid-Rivers and Highway 70, in West County on Olive, and the store in Darden Prairie. Michael's Flooring Outlet, IGotFloor.com.
Hello, it's Mike Carter here. I don't know if you've ever heard of McNair Grade School over in the Hazelwood School District, but Alexander McNair was Missouri's first governor, and he's said to have been the only state official wearing a fashionable cloth coat when Missouri secured its statehood. The year was 1821, and most legislators were dressed in homespun clothes, fringed hunting shirts, and buckskin. Carter law offices are just a few blocks from the first state capitol down on Main Street in St. Charles, and like our state, we've grown over the years. But one thing we've never forgotten is our connection to the people of St. Charles County and our great state of Missouri. I'm Mike Carter, the founder of Carter Law Offices, and I also serve as general counsel to one of the largest employers in St. Charles County, and I'm a past director of the St. Louis Board of Realtors. I also serve as municipal judge for the fastest growing city in St. Charles County, and I have a news talk program on Fox and ABC called Justice and Journalism with me, Judge Mike Carter, where I interview today's state officials and newsmakers. Not many these days are dressed in buckskin, but they do answer to you the same way those elected officials did over 200 years ago. Check them out at MikeCarter.com.
Mortgage rates have finally dropped. That's right. Golden Oak has 5.375% fixed rates available right now. Our average cash-out customer saves over $1,000 a month. Call today and take advantage of our 5.375 fixed rate. Call 314-567-GOLD. That's 314-567-GOLD.
Golden Oak Lending.
5.934 APR. FHA 15-year 20% equity qualified credit. Additional terms apply. NMLS 114937.
KFTK FM Florissant. From the Under Law Injury Lawyers, GetJim.com studio. 97.1 FM Talk. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
Donald Trump remains gagged. I'm John Saucier, Fox News. A New York appeals court has upheld a gag order in former President Trump's hush money trial. Fox's Tanya J. Powers is in New York City with the latest.
The appeals court found that Judge Juan Merchan properly determined that public statements made by former President Trump, quote, posed a significant threat to the integrity of the testimony of witnesses and potential witnesses in his hush money trial. The order bars the former president from commenting publicly about jurors, witnesses, and others connected to the case, including the judge's family and prosecutors. He is not barred from talking about the judge or Manhattan District Attorney Alvin Bragg. In its decision, the court noted that former President Trump's lawyers did not argue that the gag order infringes on his right to free speech, but instead that it restricted his political speech and could affect his campaign. In New York City, Tanya J. Powers, Fox News.
Speaking of the campaigns, some recent polls showing President Biden struggling against former President Trump in some swing states ahead of this 2024 election. Fox's Jackie Heinrich at the White House with more.
The New York Times survey, along with the Philly Inquirer, found that Biden's behind Trump in 5 of 6 swing states, all of which Biden won in 2020. This is among registered voters. So Trump's leading Michigan, Arizona, Nevada, Georgia, and Pennsylvania. Biden's only ahead in Wisconsin. And among likely voters, the race was closer. Biden eked out ahead of Trump in Michigan. He was closer behind in Wisconsin and Pennsylvania. But the results were similar with third-party candidates in the race.
One of the reasons for sliding support for President Biden, his handling of the Israel-Hamas war. He's drawn criticism from both pro-Israel and pro-Palestinian voters. And of course, inflation, another major issue for the president. Wholesale prices rising 0.5% last month, and that's actually more than what economists were expecting. That inflation reading, wholesale prices, that is, up 2.2% on a year-to-year basis. America's listening to Fox News.
I'm getting vaccinated with Prevnar 20, a Pfizer vaccine.
So am I, because I'm at risk for pneumococcal pneumonia.
If you're 19 or older with chronic conditions like asthma, diabetes, COPD, or heart disease, or are 65 or older, you are at increased risk for pneumococcal pneumonia. Ask your doctor or pharmacist about Prevnar 20, pneumococcal 20-valent conjugate vaccine. It can help protect you against pneumococcal pneumonia in just one dose. Even if you've already been vaccinated with other pneumonia vaccines, Prevnar 20 may help provide added protection. Prevnar 20 is approved for adults to help prevent infections from 20 strains of the bacteria that cause pneumococcal pneumonia. Continued approval may depend on a supportive study. Don't get Prevnar 20 if you've had a severe allergic reaction to the vaccine or its ingredients. Adults with weakened immune systems may have a lower response to the vaccine. Side effects include pain and swelling at the injection site, fatigue, headache, muscle, and joint pain. For full prescribing information, please call 1-855-213-2138 or visit Prevnar20.com.
Air Comfort Service, heating, cooling, and insulation. Weather.
Our slow-moving low pressure still in play with periods of scattered showers and some thunder showers around going through the afternoon. Nothing severe, 72. Scattered showers and thunder showers around this evening. Slow clearing late night, 57. Wednesday is nice, gorgeous. Lots of sunshine, 75, with more developing showers and thunder showers Thursday and Friday. This is 97.1 FM Talk. Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
Mark Cox here. Join me, Annie Fry, and Mark Reardon, along with Thomas Helbig and Bob Kershaw of the Retirement Advisory Group for the next Protecting Your Retirement educational event. It's Thursday, May 16th at the Frontenac Hilton at 6:30. Seating is limited, so go online to retirementkey.com. Here's Thomas with more.
Are you close to retirement or already retired and wondering what to do with your life savings? Are you concerned about more market volatility the closer we get to the election? Would you like to know how linking to the market is smarter and safer than owning the market? Did you also know if you're 59 and a half or older, you can roll over your company retirement plan tax-free to protect your nest egg from any losses and provide more income than your current plan? You'll get all the answers and more. If you're 59 and a half or older, you can't afford to miss this event.
Protect that retirement nest egg. Join the official financial advisors of my show, Thomas Helbig and Bob Kershaw, Thursday, May 16th at the Frontenac Hilton at 6:30. Go online at retirementkey.com. That's retirementkey.com.
You wouldn't trust a butcher to babysit your pet pig. You wouldn't trust a lumberjack to repair your antiques. Or a professional wrestler to be your massage therapist. So why would you trust anyone but AMCO to fix your car? For over 50 years, we've been the trusted experts in transmission repair.
AMCO offers easy payment plan options for most any credit situation, so you can fix it fast and pay it off slow at AMCO.
AAMCO.
When we talk about Window World and how they are simply the best for less, one thing that is important to understand is the quality of the window, but also paired with the value that you get. A lifetime warranty on those window replacements. They're not crappy windows. They're double strength glass. It gives it a strength that isn't traditionally used in replacement windows. The lifetime warranty comes with parts, glass breakage, and labor. They pair that with the ability to make it much more practical and affordable for you to do the window replacements that you desperately need. They are offering right now 36 months, same as cash financing with approved credit. When you call 314-993-1800, that's 314-993-1800, you are going to be paired with somebody at Window World who could walk you through your options. They're going to be straight with you. It's not a big ruse. They are good people selling great windows at a great value. And you just need to give them a call to get that process started. Have them come to your house and give you a free in-home estimate. 314-993-1800, windowworld.com.
Don't let a cold, sinus infection, or allergies ruin your day. Breathe easier, sleep better, and feel healthier with Navage. Visit Navage.com, Walmart, Walgreens, CVS, or a store near you.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely on advertisements.
If you've been hurt on the job, you need the best. Onder Law. Hurt on the job? Call Onder Law today for a free review at 314 or 618-9000000.
It's what's happening
And there's still no evidence whatsoever connecting Trump with any criminal wrongdoing.
right now.
U.S. weapons aid will not go to Israel.
Keeping you informed.
We have no leadership from Joe Biden.
St. Louis is home for conservative talk. 97.1 FM Talk. The Annie Fry Show YouTube live chat poll of the day is sponsored by Ruler Foods. Low prices, no coupons. Ruler Foods.
That is exactly what I needed to hear.
Thank God someone here knows what they're talking about.
That's us. That's right. Gotta love this American ride.
All right, you need to take the time and get the full picture.
Don't get me wrong, I love the ladies. I mean, they rev my engine, but they don't belong in the newsroom. It is Anchor Man, not Anchor Lady.
Goodness sake, kid. Keep your voice down. Your father's listening to the radio.
I'm not America's sweetheart.
This is the Annie Fry Show.
Welcome back to the Annie Fry Show. This Friday, we're broadcasting on location, right?
Yes, we're going to be at Tamarack.
Tamarack Golf
Yes.
Course, the St. Clair County GOP?
Yes, and there's lots of rooms for teams. I was just talking to the St. Clair County GOP earlier today. He said he's got lots of rooms for teams. If you guys want to put together a foursome and sign up,
Come
please
see
do
us.
so. Yeah, absolutely.
This will be our third year doing this?
Yes,
Yeah.
I think I missed the first year though.
You had COVID.
I had COVID.
Yeah.
You did, yeah. And it was like 2 degrees outside.
I think it was that like Hannah's second day on her show officially?
Something like that.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, and I remember missing it and thinking, man, I kind of okay with missing this one because the weather was so cold. I
Thanks,
didn't
bro.
really have COVID, you guys. Just
I
so
forgive
you know.
you.
But you could get out of anything with COVID at that time. So.
Can you still? I mean, you can,
That's
right?
a good question. I don't know.
Nobody
I'll
wants
try it.
Nobody wants to be around COVID,
Right.
but we're not like psychotic about it anymore.
I think we're sort of back to the mean here where, you know, if you're sick, stay home, try to avoid people, but do what you got to do.
There are multiple times in Washington, D.C. where I was sitting on a bench or in a place just wall-to-wall crawling with people. It's just like, it's really outrageous to think about what we did for a year.
Yeah.
Circles on the floor, or lines to stand behind so you could social distance. Everybody wearing masks outside.
Yes.
And like what did we need? Fresh air and vitamin D. Stay inside and
Yeah.
wear a mask when you go anywhere.
But if you do shop, we're going to draw these lines, and this will save you from it.
This is how far
Just-
COVID can travel.
Right.
6 feet.
Make sure you have your mask on while you're standing, but when you sit down to
You can
eat your
take it off.
popcorn, go ahead and take it off, and
Yeah.
you'll be fine. Make sure you can only walk this way down that aisle and the other way
It
down the
is
other aisle.
the same thing as duck and cover.
Yeah, that's true.
You know how
That's true.
were raised to be like, oh, when our parents were in grade school, there was going to be a nuclear attack. They said, get under your desk and cover your head. And we're like, what morons? Here we are.
Yeah.
Our kids are going to be like, how did they even raise us if they were this stupid?
Brad brought up one of the best ones that we always forget about, which is walk this direction down this aisle and then the other direction down the other. And if you break the rules, you are going to be socially outcast and you'll get COVID.
I would walk down. I'm a rule follower. I'm also outspoken if I think that the rule is wrong. I can follow the rule, but in defiance will have to speak to somebody about it.
Preach.
But I would forget. I just was not and am not any longer ever the person who goes into the store. I can't control myself when I go into Walmart because I browse the whole store. My husband's like, you're not, I got this. You stay home. But if I would have to go for one particular reason, it took twice as long because you'd have to, it was just like one-way streets in there. You'd have to go down the, sanitary aisle in order to get to the paper goods aisle so that you could double back to the bleach aisle. And then you got there and there's no freaking bleach. Because everybody bought it. How bizarre. And when, history books are written by the winners, so to speak, what happens if we were all losers in the outcome of something like this? Who's writing the history books that are actually going to make it into classroom? You're just going to have to put some borderline pornography in it in the history books in order for the people who are in control right now to make sure that they get in the classroom.
Hey, check out page 46. It's about COVID history,
I'm so
but
glad
there's a
you
little
said
leg
46.
up there.
I'm so glad you said 46.
You want me to say a different page number?
No. Mm-mm.
That era, it really will, and I think this is already happening. I somebody commented on Facebook, who's one of those random people who I've met 3 times in my life, but I'm friends with him on Facebook for some reason. And he said something about going into the 2024 election, blah, 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 something, COVID shutting down schools. And the argument that was underneath the comment was from very, very different viewed people, lots of people on the right, lots of people on the left, and of course they're arguing about COVID. But the focal point of the argument was who did the shutting down. It wasn't should we have or shouldn't we have. Everybody agreed that we shouldn't have in this thread.
Yeah.
And I thought if that's where we've gotten, the political argument's going to happen. But if we've moved you always say, Brad, the Overton window to we all are kind of in the same area on, yes, the shutdowns are bad. We shouldn't have kept kids out of school. That's a win. We've moved in the right direction.
There's such a difference between, I would say that in a crisis like that, I'm giving the people in charge 6 weeks. And I'm starting to grow pretty skeptical in week 5.
Now or then?
Still.
See, at this point.
I think initially, the last time I was patient longer, but I mean, COVID-19 is a real thing. COVID-19 was something that came in and killed a lot of people who were not healthy. And that it was a question of comorbidities. I still don't think that we understand how many people died because of COVID versus how many people were in a certain kind of way. Or just the way that hospitals were reimbursed for COVID deaths or COVID care, the way that money clouded the interests of reporting on these things. Again, going back to what I said at the end of the last hour, Donald Trump needs to release it all so that the next time something like this happens, something like this will happen again. And I don't say that because the puppet masters that be are going to make something like this happen again. Something like this has happened before. 1818, was it 1918, 18? Our country, 1818 is when Illinois became a state. 1918, when we had that pandemic, that was something that I don't think was imported from China. So it could happen again. we have manipulated our health industry so much in the way we consume things and the way that we've gotten so far away from like the way God gave us food to eat, and we manipulate so much of that before we consume it. Then we get medications that we can take in order to help medicate the conditions that have grown because of the other things that we have consumed or breathed in or so on and so forth. Like, this is the world we live in. And to think that something like this won't happen again, I think is a bit naive. But of course, you have to know what you're going to do when something like this happens again. The political interests in something like this taking place, I still question. Who benefited from COVID? That's, to me, the biggest question, because if you know who's benefiting from different facets of a pandemic, then you can start understanding where to look and dig a little bit deeper. Who directly and, most severely was impacted by something like this pandemic? Then you can start to look at, reasons for and against allowing something, permitting something, or fighting against something like this happening again. But if you have something come across, and it doesn't have to be a disease pandemic, if you have something come across, like if there were an electromagnetic pulse that was delivered to this country, we don't know how to deal with that. The country has not been trained or educated in any way, shape, or form for something like that to happen. And if something like that occurred, there would be complete and total panic for quite some time, depending on how big it was and how much geography it covered. Whatever the instance might be, when there is something that is unprecedented in our generational lifetime, I do give the people who are in power, I give them room to make mistakes. But the key is here that you have to understand and acknowledge that those mistakes were made. And that has not happened yet. Because you can't freeze. When you have to make a decision, you can't freeze. You have to take the information that you're given, the wisdom that you're provided by the smart people who you've surrounded yourself with, who will likely disagree. You have to listen to them, and you have to make decisions. And some of those decisions are going to be wrong, but you can't be frozen by making the wrong decision that you don't attempt to make the right one. I still have room for good people in the positions of authority to make mistakes in the effort to try to make good things happen. I just don't feel like any of this COVID stuff was in good faith. And I feel like we know that information was held from the president of the United States when this was taking place. We know that they shielded him from things. He didn't have any expertise in this. So I do give Donald Trump room for error because he was acting on something that was unprecedented in the lifetimes of anybody who was involved in making these decisions. So if it were to happen again under Joe Biden or anybody else, I would be willing to not just be like red, blue, Republican, Democrat, Democrat bad about things that were being decided, but you got to be able to trust the system. And I don't think you can trust the system if they don't expose who benefited from the last time.
Seems to me that it's less about Republican, Democrat, and more about the philosophy of a crisis. You approach a crisis, and the Republican is typically, hopefully, going to say, let's try to get through the crisis as best we can, offer good leadership, but also not take the opportunity to grow the government. Hopefully. It seems that Democrats would do the exact opposite and try to grow the government out of any crisis. And that's a big difference in philosophy. So you do approach these things skeptically depending on who's in office because they're going to approach the solution differently.
I'm thinking about that. Like Annie, you said, there's deference that you give to the government and stuff like that. And I think that after COVID, my deference is way shorter than what it ever was before.
Yeah, because you have no good faith.
I don't have any faith in them anymore. I watched a lot of what governments were doing. I watched a lot of what different people were doing. There were people that were just clamoring at anything that they could do to get them more power. But then at the same time, you had people who didn't know what to do whatsoever, and they were just flailing in the dark. So they proved themselves to either be little tyrants or completely ill-equipped to do the job that they had done. A lot of these people were in positions that maybe they got just because they were friends with the person who appointed them. And it's like, well, we'll never really need a pandemic manager. So we'll just throw my buddy Bob over here.
Might need a pandemic czar.
Right. But you're right. It's not a red or blue thing, Ryan. I understand your point. But at the end of the day, you really just got to look at who's in charge and what is their motivation for doing it.
I got a text from one of my major Democrat friends I love dearly. And this is the response. Biden will be the nominee if he can live long enough, unfortunately, to answer your poll. I don't think the unfortunately is about him living long enough, but I think he's saying that's the state of the affairs. Because these people don't support Biden. They I do not think that there is an instance where this individual is going to cast a vote for Donald Trump in any circumstances. But they're not going to be excited to vote for Joe Biden. I know some people who are principled enough in their disgust for what has happened, and they're raising families, and they know that this has not been good for their ability to grow and prosper in this country, to have Joe Biden be the president. They might not cast a vote for Joe Biden either. They'll have to figure that out. And I think a lot of that'll be the interesting thing when it comes to polling. I think a lot of it will be game day decision.
So what you're saying is that me and your Democrat friend are on the same team today.
I would say that my Democrat friend and I is probably the way, if I were saying it, that I would have said that.
I have no good comeback for that because you're right. No. Wait a minute now. You're saying that you are right. Never mind. Never mind. I had to think it through, and you still win.
It's not the I, me. You always put the other person first, and then you figure out the I, me first. But also, it's all right. I'm here to help.
Oh, yeah, you sure are. Appreciate that kind of help. You know what? I get this at home, too.
Do you?
I do.
What does your wife do for a living?
She's an English teacher.
Yes, you should know better.
So,
are you getting it out here?
Am I getting it
Like,
out?
are you
Like, am
working
I
out
getting
the bad
my feels?
You're like, at home, I have to speak clearly, but at work as a broadcaster,
yeah.
I'm just going to be
I
me.
need to let it loose. Yeah, in front of the kids, we behave ourselves, but here, letting the hair down a little bit.
You did find out in the first hour that, in theory, there are people listening. Possibly.
I did not know that.
Yeah. Stick around. Let's get to the results at the end of the hour. And when we come back, this will be an interesting thing because I think everybody has a little bit of a different experience when it comes to this. Etiquette mistakes you're making at the doctor's office.
Oh, a great lead-in with a COVID segment, too.
Yeah, I was the whole time was setting this up.
Great job.
Like a pro.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Me and I. Never mind.
Me and I. Ryan's going to go take a break. We'll be right back.
The Annie Fry Show is streaming online. Watch us live on YouTube and subscribe.
Sister, I see you dancing on the stage of memory.
Stewart's American Mortgage is the home and the only place for you to get the bagel loan when you're shopping for a mortgage, or what some people do, and it's kind of like something you hear afterwards. You're like, oh, I didn't even know. Maybe you don't even shop for your mortgage. You're invested in the process of buying a house, and you go through and maybe it's the realtor or the people who are involved with who are helping you go through all the paperwork, say, okay, and you're going to go to this person and get your mortgage. Make sure you shop. Stewie's going to be there to make sure you get the best deal possible. I am a 2-time customer of the Bagel Loan myself with a refinance of my home. Very grateful that I did that because my rate is super low right now, while rates are a bit higher than they were when I refinanced years ago. But they've come down a little bit since their absolute high, so it might make sense for you to do a Bagel Loan refinance with Stewie today. When you call him and you tell him your situation, whether it's a purchase or refinance, he's going to walk you through exactly how the Bagel Loan works, which means you pay zero in closing costs that the other lenders out there are going to charge you for. You're missing the opportunity to save thousands of dollars potentially by not using the Bagel Loan, so give him a call. 314-324-4440, 314-324-4440. You can Google the Bagel Loan as well, and MLS number 226715.
You know your customers. Ralph likes his coffee black on Fridays, but Mondays he takes a little cream. Jennifer comes in every 3 years when her lease is up to get the newer and better model. And for some reason, pepperoni pizza sells like crazy on Friday nights. Who knew? At Odyssey, we have the expertise to get your media plan done right. With ads like you're hearing right now, to targeted social media campaigns, search engine optimization, and location-based advertising. Advertise with Odyssey and help us grow your business. Visit ads.odyssey.com.
Just a reminder to have your air conditioner checked for the summer so you don't have a mishap and it goes down in the hottest day of the year. But it's always best to have it done. Call us and we'll be more than happy to come out there and check it for you. And like always, if you're having your furnace checked by another company and you are told that this is the year you need to replace it, call me for a second opinion, The 0% interest is still available on most brands. Save your cash and keep your credit cards open and away from those high rates. Call me. You'll be glad you did. Bart Inman, one easy number in Missouri and Illinois. The easiest. It is 314-293-2600 or on the website bartinman.com. Now that's Bart with a B, Inman with an I.com. God bless.
I was having a lot of sinus infections. My sinuses were clogged, pressure, headaches.
Linda suffered for years with chronic sinus infections.
You don't feel like doing anything. When you feel like your head is completely clogged, all you want to do is just lay down and sleep. And the pressure, it's just not fun, always walking around with a headache.
Now, her issues are gone. How? A minimally invasive procedure done in the office of St. Louis Sinus Centers called balloon sinuplasty.
I really did not know what it was like to feel like you're really breathing and not being so clogged up. I would do it again in a heartbeat, and I would definitely recommend it for someone else.
Do you suffer with chronic sinus infections, facial pain, pressure, congestion? Find out if balloon sinuplasty is the solution for you. Set an appointment today with St. Louis Sinus Centers. Call 314-332-2885. 314-332-2885. That's 314-332-2885.
More good news for Frederick Roofing, voted best roofing company by the St. Louis Post-Dispatch.
For a hole in your roof or a whole new roof, Frederick Roofing.
314-645-2000.
I can see clearly now thanks to the doctors at Ophthalmology Associates. Doctors Greg Birdie, Ranjan Malhotra, Robert Brusati, Andy Royer, and introducing Samuel Berry. You can too. Call 314-966-5000 or check out youridoc.com. That's youridoc.com.
You're listening to the Annie Fry Show live from the Air Comfort Service Heating, Cooling, and Insulation Studio. Get in your comfort zone with double Carrier Cool Cash rebates up to $4,200 and 0% financing up to 72 months on a new HVAC system. For details and a free estimate, visit aircomfortservice.com.
97.1 On Command. Just tell your smart speaker to play 97.1 FM Talk. Or download the Odyssey app and stay on top of everything happening anytime, even when you're not close to a radio. The Annie Fry Show is streaming online. Watch us live on YouTube and subscribe.
Welcome back to the Annie Fry Show. Now, you guys have various reasons why you might be more of a frequent flyer at the doctor's office than some others. You,
Yeah.
Ryan, because of your age.
No.
Advanced.
No, you because of
extremely
your comedy.
advanced age.
I go to the doctor for my comedy.
Yeah.
That's hilarious.
It's you broke your funny bone just now, you know, with that joke. That joke about my age. That's good stuff. I'll just cut that and make that tomorrow's promo. There we go.
Pause. Perfect. How often do you find yourself in the doctor's office?
About once a quarter, probably.
Okay.
Not quite that often. I go every 6 months.
6 months. Here are some etiquette mistakes that you or some other people are making, and I need to know if you guys are doing these. I don't go to the doctor very often, but I will tell you if, and I want to know two things. A, do you do them? B, have you observed them and do they bother you? If you noticed when I was in Washington, D.C., I posted a lot of polls about etiquette because I was sitting there and I was killing time and I was just watching people and observing people. And it's like, you can't judge like what capital P people are like when you're just looking at middle schoolers. They don't know better yet. They're working on it and they should be being guided that way. But just the understanding of etiquette culturally, there are things that definitely people hold on to longer than others. So it might be considered okay to do this now, but it's kind of recent. For instance, leggings as pants. That has developed in our adult lifetime that people would wear leggings as pants. There was a time when that was outrageous to think about wearing leggings as pants, and now Ryan does it all the time.
Which is shocking because I still get looks. I know, and I tell people this
kind
is
of looks are they,
appropriate
though?
now. This is culturally appropriate now.
Are you saying that they look judgmental, or
yeah,
are
they
just
look at me judgmentally.
wandering eyes?
Well, it's both probably. I mean, at first it's
Lot of
wandering
information.
eyes, and then it's like, ew. And I'm like, what? Why'd you say that to my face?
Etiquette problem number 1 in the doctor's office, not calling to inform them you're running late.
Yes, that is something you should do.
Do you do that?
Yes, I do. I just don't usually run late.
But if you're showing up late, do you make sure that they know, or do you just show up late?
If it's 5 minutes, it's not. If it's something that I don't think is going to throw their schedule off, then no. If I think that it will, then I will.
I let them know. And it's usually like, I'm running late. Don't cancel my appointment.
It tells you what to do instead.
Mm.
And it says, as soon as you know that you're going to be late, and certainly if you need to cancel, call them. Then ask them how you should proceed. They may not have a busy schedule and may tell you it's fine, or they may ask you to reschedule the appointment, which you should do graciously. So just let them know and don't just show up late and expect the day to go on, because I have arrived.
So you're supposed to ask them, I'm going to be late. What do you want from me?
That's one way of putting it. The next one, crowding the front desk. It's always good etiquette to give people their personal space, especially at medical offices when waiting for your turn at the front desk. It's about privacy, the post says. You don't know if they're discussing health concerns or making a payment or something else with sensitive information. My frequent flyer doctor certainly has been my OB from having 4 babies, but there's the waiting room. They have a frosted window that opens and closes. There are 100 signs up that are like, don't stand by the window. But there are reasons why. They don't want you to crowd the window. Don't tap on the window. And like all of these warnings seem a bit much. But then you sit there for 15, 20 minutes in the waiting room and people crowd the window, people tap the window, like even with the signs there. So, the signs were developed out of you guys have to stop doing this, and the signs don't even stop people.
Yeah, I crowd the window. I crowd the desk, even if there's not a window. I usually crowd the
Process your
person-
own payments?
Yeah, behind. I kind of look behind and see if I can see their
leans
computer.
in and takes the pen out of their pocket.
It says you're supposed to stand in an orderly line, giving the person at the desk at least 3 feet of space. So the person if you two are in line at the same doctor, Brad needs to give you 3 feet of space so that you can have a quieter conversation about scheduling your next appointment or whatever it might be.
That's why I crowd the
because you
want to
know the
desk.
details.
I want to hear what they're trying to say. I don't want anybody else to hear it. I also kind of lean over, give them a little show.
Using speakerphone in the waiting room. This was one of the things that I put on my etiquette questions while I was in DC, was basically consuming anything off of your phone in a public place. And by public place, that means there are other people around you engaging in whatever it is you're doing. And engaging with said phone, it could be a FaceTime call, it could be a speakerphone voice call, it could be watching videos or social media stuff, but your phone is on full blast and you're in public and other people can hear everything about what you're doing. Is that okay? Have you ever experienced that? Do you do it?
I have experienced it. It's usually older people on their phones talking because they're not holding it up their ear. And it's like there's a little bit of a grace for that if it's like you think that they just can't hold it up their ear and hear well enough.
You think that they can't lift their hand to their ear?
Well,
what doctor's office are you in?
Sometimes I might be at the ENT.
Uh-huh.
And if they seem like they're having trouble hearing the phone and they're just doing it because of that, that's the only time that I'm like, maybe. But you still don't know. They might just be doing it because they're being inconsiderate. But watching videos and stuff, you can't really do. If I ever have a video go off while I'm just scrolling my phone waiting, I feel so bad.
Yeah.
And then I turn it down.
Especially depending on what kind of video,
Yeah, it's usually.
It's always a conundrum for me whenever I see a video that I want to listen to, but I'm in a public place because I'm looking at it. I'm like, where do I put this? Where do I put this so I can save this and listen to this later, or turn it way down and
you just turn it. Yeah, you just turn it all the way down and then up one and put it up to your ear.
Yep. That's the way to do it. It's the only way to do it.
I can't stand when people talk on speakerphone in a public place and they hold their phone like they're getting ready to take a bite of it and they talk into the one end and then they lift their phone back up to their ear and then they talk back into the end. And I'm like, stop it. You have a speaker down here and a speaker up here, and just put it up to your ear like a normal human being.
If you're listening to anything that makes noise, wear headphones. If you need to make a long call or otherwise speak for more than 30 seconds, step out into the hallway. I like that too. Like if you've ever been in a public space, or this is specifically about doctor's offices, I mean, your vocal part of that phone call, even if it's not on speakerphone, it's just, there's two questions. Like, is it permissible and is it etiquettely kind? And it is not great to hear you walk your significant other through the grocery store to talk about the different things you need to buy in the grocery, or like navigating, picking up kids or whatever. And it says 30 seconds. So if you need to pick up the phone and be like, oh yeah, I got, the older two kids, I need you to pick up the baby from mom. Okay, great. Sounds good. I'll see you later. All right, fine. But like when you start to learn details about the person's life because the conversation is going on, there is a way to excuse yourself, I would think.
Especially if it's medical. If they're in a doctor's office, they're going, no, this isn't even the one with gonorrhea.
Oh, my. Asking about other patients. You hear a loud scream or see someone who looks particularly ill and wonder what's wrong with them. But you should keep your curiosity confined to your thoughts. Doctors' offices can have a lot of strange noises and sights, but leave it to the medical staff to take care of it. And if you do ask about another patient, most likely we won't comment or we will give a generic answer like someone's having a rough day, or we cannot give you any information about another patient. Have you ever been around that or been so curious that you couldn't contain your inquisition?
I don't think so. It seems like a weird thing to do.
What's the matter with her?
I mean, if they're causing a scene, then maybe you go, everything okay there? But I can't picture a scenario where I'm like, ooh, what was that guy's medical
the
condition?
outcome of the inquiry is just simply for your own knowledge. It's not like you're going to solve the problem at the doctor's office.
Yeah. Hey, maybe I might help, though. You could offer help.
Laughter's the best medicine.
Oh, they'll break your funny bone.
It says, don't ask questions about other patients, no matter how tempting it is. If you're worried about someone else, it's a lovely sentiment to express empathy. Oh, that doesn't sound fun. I hope they are okay. Next one, taking an unrelated phone call while in the exam room. The aide is just taking your blood pressure, so it's fine to keep the conversation with your best friend going, right? Wrong. It's not only rude to be on the phone while the doctor is present, it's also disrespectful to be chatting on the phone when any of the medical staff are interacting with you. This is disrespectful to them as human beings. You should treat everyone with kindness.
Agreed?
Yep.
The only time that's ever happened is if you're waiting in the room for a long time and you take a call because, shoot, I've been here for 15 minutes, and then they walk in. But that's when you go, oh, hey, doctor's here. I'm going to have to get going.
Yep. Yeah, the key word there is unrelated. I've had phone calls with my wife on the phone while we're discussing whatever it is that I'm at the doctor for, but
so that she can hear the information from the medical staff.
Right. And even then I clear it with them. Are you okay with me calling my wife so that we can both talk to you during this?
Yeah. Same with me, and the amount of doctor's visits that you go through when you're pregnant. And I think with Charlie, my oldest, and he was in a position to do it. He came with me to all those appointments. With Molly, he came to find out when we found out the sex of the baby, and that literally might have been it. And at that point, I might have talked to him on the phone, waiting for them to come into the exam room, and he knew my OB very well. We love him, and so I might keep him on the phone, but. Other than that, like to be getting your blood pressure taken and then talking about what's for dinner. Snooping around for your medical chart. I just picture you doing this, Ryan.
Snooping around like in their files?
It can be tempting to take a peek at your physician's iPad or computer, but keep in mind the doctor's immediate notes won't always be clear to the patient. Back when we used folders, I had a patient who grabbed her file off the front of the exam room door and read through it while she was waiting for the doctor. On a previous visit, the doctor had made a note that she said that she was, quote, unremarkable.
Wow, now I do want to read it.
Which in medical speak just means there's nothing noticeably wrong with you.
Yep.
Well.
She took it as a personal insult and even yelled at the doc. You gotta believe that I'm remarkable.
Let me show you what I can do.
What kind of doctor are you?
Start walking around the office like peacocking.
She took it as a personal insult, yelled at the doc. It took me a long time to calm her down and explain the situation. How dumb would you feel? Like, you deserve that.
After you turned a beat on, you started doing some, like, sweet twerk dancing. Think this is unremarkable? What do you put in my file now?
What kind of doctors are you going to?
CF.
Oh. I don't have that condition, so I wouldn't know.
They're used to it.
It's working.
Yeah.
Did you say sweet beat?
Yeah.
Do this instead. When you access your medical records online, typically through an online portal, write down any questions you may have about results or notes made and make it a point to talk to them about your doctor. That person has serious trust issues.
Can we talk about the word portal for the medical world? Why do they use portals? Because it seems to me like they're just creating a website for you to talk to people, and I am picturing a Stargate every time they say it.
Have you seen the portal that was just installed in New York City?
Yes, that's a real portal.
That you can see, like, the opposite side is, I think, in Dublin.
It's in Dublin, yeah.
And there was a video on Twitter of, like, showing all the, like, the people in Ireland are doing, like, what you would expect Irish people to do. Like, the only thing they do is jig. And they're doing that in front of the portal. And then they showed New York City, and they're doing what only New York City people do, which is she just lifted up her shirt and flashed her boobs.
Yeah. Yeah, I did see that. Yeah, I saw it a couple times. But my point is, now I'm going to get back on track here because my mind wandered a little bit when you said that. The point is that is a portal.
You heard portal.
That is a circle.
And lost your
there's a
focus.
circle there that you can see through to another world. That's a portal, not your WebMD website.
Talking down to medical assistants. Are you like, you're not a real doctor?
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, that's fine. That's cute that you'd think that. I know that this is a teaching hospital.
Who does that?
Neat for you. I don't know.
Like, again, my only frequent experience with doctors is having babies. But what the nurse, like the portion of delivering a child that is handled by nurses versus the actual portion where the doctor shows up and catches the baby. I mean, I'm sure there are important. I've had healthy deliveries. But on at least 2 occasions, the nurses start you with pushing. And they're like, we'll get the doctor in here when it's time. And with Jensen and Molly both, they're like, all right, we're going to start pushing. And I got through like half a push. They're like, stop! And I had to wait like 10 minutes to continue on that process.
For the doctor?
For the doctor.
Wow.
My doctor with Molly also told me what in the morning, and again, this is my 3rd baby with him. I had the first baby with a different OB, and then I changed over to the current one that I have and love him. I need to go back and see him. I just am like only going there because I've been having babies, and that's not the case anymore. But he came in and jokingly was like, it'd be really good if we could have this baby around lunchtime, about 12:30. That'd work really well in my schedule. And I'm pretty sure Molly was born at like 12:24.
Well, that worked really well for him.
Yeah.
That was a few minutes early.
Yeah. Yeah.
As a man, when I hear that, I think I've never been in that situation, but it seems to me as if the nurses are walking you right up to the moment, and then in the moment that you need them most, they leave. Then there's nobody there.
The nurses? No.
You said 10 minutes. And they
didn't leave me. They were with me, but they want the doctor to be there. I mean, the doctor needs to be there when the baby is delivered because if something goes wrong, if there's something happened, and I didn't have that, so my situation was fortunately very routine. But Molly was delivered very fast. She was 9 pounds, 15 ounces. This is a big baby. When you're delivering a big baby like that and everybody in the room is acting like this is like remarkable.
Whoa, this is the big one.
And you're like,
it's the Moby Dick.
Guys, just oh, Molly. Talking down to medical assistants, my point being that it takes a team, and I think any good doctor would say that the nurses are absolutely.
Oh, honey, is there an MD behind your name? If not, we'll just wait.
Monopolizing the staff's time with small talk. Now, this sounds like something you would do.
Yeah, this is something I try to do.
There's a fine line between talking too much and not talking enough at the doctor's office. There's certainly space for some small talk as it helps patients feel more comfortable, and we do want to hear what's going on in your life, particularly as it affects your current condition. Are you chatty?
This is a story for another day, but I do like to chat up a certain group of people. It's not necessarily these people.
Chat them up?
I like to chat up scammers. If somebody
That's
tries
totally
to scam
different.
me.
That has nothing to do with this.
I know. So I don't necessarily do this, but
And
I am
also,
an oversharer.
I don't know that your batting average of being able to identify scammers is great.
That's why I do it to almost everybody.
Just in case.
Yeah, in the doctor's office, I'm like, I don't know. trying to get me signed up for a pyramid scheme, I'll just chat you up.
Because if you're going to a place, I would assume your heart doctors, you know well, and the staff there, your CF doctors, you know them well. Like, do you feel like you want to be catching up? Or do you get in that situation in your chatty, or are you just like quiet to yourself? And
I'm usually pretty quiet, but there are people that know that what we do. And so a lot of people will talk to me about the show and, sometimes about current events and stuff. So it ends up being a real conversation about things that have nothing to do with medicine.
Not following safety protocols. Most medical offices have rules about masking, wearing gloves, or not coming into the office with certain symptoms. These rules can be frustrating, especially if you don't see a reason for them, but it's poor etiquette to ignore them. I'm not going into a doctor's office, healthy, wearing a mask in a routine situation. If I'm going into... if I were going into maybe a cancer center or something like that, and they had a wear a mask thing, I can understand that. And I don't want to be so stubbornly stuck in my COVID PTSD that I don't do things that are going to be helpful to other people. But I could see how that would be easy to kind of be apprehensive to follow those guidelines because of other reasons.
It's really weird in the CF community because they don't want CF patients to be around each other very much because of transmission. So before COVID, they had you wear masks in the office all the time. But then once you went through COVID, and obviously then everybody was wearing them for a while, but now it's like there's been so much more research done on masks that they said, you know what, unless you're going to wear an N95, just don't even worry about it. They just kind of gave up. They went the opposite direction, which is very curious to me.
Taking pictures or videos of others. I've seen people post pictures, even if somebody is talking on their phone or doing something that has nothing to do with a medical situation. Maybe they're doing something obnoxious that goes against one of these etiquette things. And so you take a picture or video, you post it, and you're like, this person's talking on their cell phone, on speakerphone for an hour about blah, blah, blah. But if they're at a cancer doctor or something like that, or if they're at something that is connected to a specific condition that maybe people don't know about, you just you can't ever cross that line.
Yeah, I don't ever do that to anybody. People will do it to me when I drop a sweet beat and twerk.
That's a good example. I've got a few more of these I'm going to read to you when we come back. We'll breeze through them and get to the results of the YouTube live chat poll. Will Joe Biden be the Democratic candidate on your November ballot? We want to know what you think. So stick around. We'll get you the results and the final etiquette mistakes you might be making in the doctor's office in just a minute. Don't go away.
That's what I like about you. That's what I like about you.
This is the Annie Fry Show.
STS-armory.com. That's the website to visit and learn more about this STS Armory location there in Pontoon Beach at the corner of Highway 111 and South Drive. And they're the go-to for everything that you need firearms and defense related. It's not just, guns and ammo, but they certainly can help you with those issues. They have accessories. They have holsters. They have different types of safety and security devices that you can use to properly store and secure your firearms. They have other types of preparatory things that you might want to use or ways to modify a firearm to make it more comfortable, easier to use. What your questions are when it comes to firearms and using your Second Amendment rights, you can get those answers at STS Armory. If you have FOID questions, if you have conceal and carry inquiries, wanting to make sure that your conceal and carry license is up to date, or maybe you're looking to acquire it for the first time, please, please, please go to the very best in the business at STS Armory. You can call them at 618-931-GUNS, 618-931-GUNS, or find them online at sts-armory.com.
For garage door repair, St. Louis calls the real Overhead Door Company of St. Louis. They're the ones with the red ribbon. They're the ones who've been here since 1926. Others try to copy the name, but cannot match the level of service. The red ribbon means 94 years of trust and loyalty from St. Louis homeowners. Always look for the red ribbon. It means you've got the genuine, the original Overhead Door Company of St. Louis. Call 314-781-5200.
If you have a problem with the IRS, believe me, it's not going away on its own. The IRS never gives up. They have endless resources, so they control the game. Well, your tax problems can end. I'm attorney Lance Drury with the Drury Law Firm, a local tax resolution firm with an A+ rating from the Better Business Bureau. I've handled thousands of IRS cases over the last 15 years. So when you hire me, you won't be speaking long distance or sending money to some TV pitchman that's riddled with consumer complaints. Your first visit is completely free and confidential, and I'll tell you on the spot exactly how much it will cost. So call me, Lance Drury, at 314-260-6120. That's 314-260-6120. Or go to Lance, D-R-U-R-Y, law.com. If you have IRS issues, you need a local attorney, you need me, Lance Drury.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements.
On Saturday, May 18th, the Cards host the Boston Red Sox, and that day, 25,000 fans ages 16 and older will take home a mystery nickname jersey courtesy of Maryville University. Throughout the seasons, players with unique nicknames have left their mark like Pags, Carp, and the most recent Newt. The Cardinals are excited to honor these players with this fun mystery jersey giveaway. That's Saturday, May 18th. Get your tickets at cardinals.com/promotions.
The Cardinals wrap up their weekend series with the Boston Red Sox Sunday, May 19th. 25,000 fans ages 16 and older will take home a 200-piece puzzle commemorating Adam Wainwright's 200 career wins. One puzzle piece for each win. That's not all. 10,000 kids 15 and younger entering with a ticket will also receive their own pair of Cardinals sunglasses courtesy of the Pasta House. That's Sunday, May 19th. Get your tickets at cardinals.com/promotions.
This is Adam Wainwright, St. Louis Cardinals for the Lou.
Tony La Russa here. Has your loss of energy and weight gain thrown you a curveball in your relationship? If so, go see my friends over at Victory Men's Health. Discreet first-class professionals will help you hit those curves out of the park. VictoryMen'sHealth.com. That's VictoryMen'sHealth.com.
The subject of today's YouTube live chat poll is Joe Biden being the Democrat candidate on your November 2024 ballot. Will he or won't he? Yes or no? Let us know what you think by typing in Annie Fry on YouTube. Not only will the stream come up, but that live chat poll will also come up, and you can vote in it. That's how you do it. We'll give the results here in just a minute. 2:51. This time check is sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating and Air Conditioning.
It's time for a $98 AC tune-up.
Well, good afternoon. It's Mark Reardon. Sue's traffic reports might go about 3 to 4 minutes this afternoon because of all the rain and wet weather, but we're getting set to go on a Tuesday edition of the show. And Michael Cohen, day 2, will have all the latest coming up.
This is the Annie Fry Show. Follow Annie on Twitter at Annie Fry Show.
Welcome back to the Annie Fry Show. We are going over etiquette mistakes you might be making in the doctor's office, and we're going to wrap these up before we get to the poll results. Our question for you today is, will Joe Biden be the Democratic candidate on your November ballot? Josh says, yes, not really sure how people can say no, LOL. I think that there would just be some super dramatics at the convention, or he has to step down. And if he steps down, then naturally something else will have to happen. Jonathan said, I chose yes because I haven't seen a Democrat make a smart or logical move in a very long time. Thank you, Jonathan.
Good job.
You make a great case. I might change my vote. Etiquette mistakes you might be making here. We're going to breeze through these before we get to the results of the poll, so go vote real quick before we do that. Taking pictures of or videos of others, even accidentally, was the last one we did. Rummaging through the exam room drawers. Have you ever been in an exam room and be like, I got to know what's in there?
Every time. Yeah, I'm like, ooh, what kind of stickers and suckers you got in there?
What kind of doctor are you going to again?
Pediatrician.
Okay.
Ryan's like, I need a Spider-Man Band-Aid.
Yeah.
Find other ways to deal with your boredom and keep your hands off the medical equipment. I'm just thinking about those men.
This?
Again, I'm just thinking
What's
about
this
those
one?
men who are going into the OB office with their expecting wives going, I got to touch that.
What does this do?
Forceps, triceps. Do you have a one step?
You're unbelievable. Lying about your habits. How many drinks per week do you have on average? Do you smoke? You don't smoke that often. So what's the harm in omitting the detail, right? Wrong.
Man.
What?
Whenever I went in for my heart attack, they consistently asked me, what did you take before you went to bed? Like they were trying to figure out if I had taken any drugs. And like so,
to
Yeah.
Oh.
That induced the heart attack. And like they would leave and then somebody would come in and be like, okay, your wife's not in here. You can tell me. What did you take? And I'm like, I didn't
Oh my
take
gosh,
any.
wow.
Yeah, they would kept going. And finally at one time I was like, I had a turkey sandwich. And they're like, okay, this guy's
What was
clean.
on it?
They
Was it
say,
crack?
tell the truth about any habits you have that can impact your health. Even if you find them embarrassing or are worried the doctor will be disappointed in you. This includes illegal drug use, sexual activities, binge eating, alcohol consumption, and smoking. Honestly, we've seen and heard it all. We're not going to judge you. I don't believe the last part.
Yeah, except for Brad. They would judge you.
Yeah, we're not going to tell you what
Look,
we're
now that
judging you
Terry's
about.
gone, I'll tell you. I stuck my face into a pile of peyote.
The next etiquette mistake you might be making is wandering around. Who hasn't changed into that flimsy paper gown, hopped up on the exam table, and then waited for what seems like hours? How much space do you have to wander around in the exam room? I mean, the ones I've been in are, you could wander around for about 17 seconds.
Especially with number 8, you can't touch any of the equipment. What are you going to do?
Not covering your coughs and sneezes. This is a doctor etiquette problem?
I mean, this is just, yeah, you got to do that.
Don't we know that by now? Speaking for the patient when you're the caregiver, I think that's probably a big one.
Mm-hmm.
Let the patient speak. That's something important to do, too, when your kids can start speaking up for themselves, to let them answer the question first, and then the pediatrician can follow up with you if you haven't. But the kids need to understand to be able to articulate those things.
Yeah.
Allowing kids to run around the waiting room. This drives me crazy.
Unless it's a waiting room for kids that has places for kids to go in it.
Yeah, but there's still behavior that's expected.
Yes.
Eating a full meal in the waiting room? Brian?
I mean, if it's 5:30 and I haven't had anything.
Demanding same-day responses.
Yes. Respond to this, my doctor's office. Why was it not okay for me to have a full 2-plate Panda Express in your waiting room?
And the last one is leaving repeated messages. You don't get the answer you want immediately, call back in 10 minutes and leave another one. I guess it's not going to actually help your cause. The YouTube live chat poll for today, will Joe Biden be the Democratic candidate on your November 2024 ballot? Ryan, you say?
Yes, he will.
Brad?
I'm still a no.
I'm a no. 56% of everybody agrees with Ryan.
Thank you very much.
That doesn't make you right.
Yeah, it does.
It just makes you popular, which is probably
I'll take it.
Good enough for you.
Yeah.
Stick around. Mark Reardon and the crew coming in here to take over on St. Louis's home for conservative talk, 97.1 FM Talk. Don't go away.
I'm getting vaccinated with Prevnar 20, a Pfizer vaccine.
So am I, because I'm at risk for pneumococcal pneumonia.
If you're 19 or older with chronic conditions like asthma, diabetes, COPD, or heart disease, or are 65 or older, you are at increased risk for pneumococcal pneumonia. Ask your doctor or pharmacist about Prevnar 20, pneumococcal 20-valent conjugate vaccine. It can help protect you against pneumococcal pneumonia in just one dose. Even if you've already been vaccinated with other pneumonia vaccines, Prevnar 20 may help provide added protection. Prevnar 20 is approved for adults to help prevent infections from 20 strains of the bacteria that cause pneumococcal pneumonia. Continued approval may depend on a supportive study. Don't get Prevnar 20 if you've had a severe allergic reaction to the vaccine or its ingredients. Adults with weakened immune systems may have a lower response to the vaccine. Side effects include pain and swelling at the injection site, fatigue, headache, muscle, and joint pain. For full prescribing information, please call 1-855-213-2138 or visit Prevnar20.com.
Have you experienced all the ick that comes with the beautiful trees that are budding and the flowers that are blooming, and there's a yellow layer of pollen everywhere, and it's just gross? It gets in your system, and it makes you congested, and your allergies are out of control. Did you know that there's something you can do to combat that within your own home? And it has to do with the air quality in your home. That's where Air Comfort Service comes in. Air Comfort Service can help you with a whole home air purifier that can help you relieve and eliminate allergy symptoms, the problems with pet dander, bacteria, viruses, odors, and even more. You just got to reach out to them and give them a call and get that free estimate in your home. You'll be glad that you did. They're the best people in the business when it comes to assessing your situation and giving you the comfort zone, both in temperature and air quality. You reach out to them at 314-513-0091. That's 314-513-0091 and ask them about a free estimate on a whole home air purifier. Tell them Annie Fry sent you. They'll be glad to hear it. You can find them online at aircomfortservice.com.
You want to retire soon, but everyone keeps telling you to wait until you're 65. After all, that's the age that you qualify for Medicare and you're close to full retirement age. I'm Marvin Mitchell, president of Compass Retirement Solutions. In my new book, Retire Early, the 9 critical decisions when retiring before 65, I discuss proper planning to help make early retirement possible. When to take Social Security, what to do with your 401k, health care, how to maximize retirement income, and much more. Get a complimentary copy of Retire Early by calling 1-800-743-8510. That's 1-800-743-8510. Can you retire early? Call 1-800-743-8510 for your copy of Retire Early, the 9 critical decisions when retiring before 65.
Investments and services offered through Compass Retirement Group, a registered investment advisory in Missouri and Illinois. Compass Retirement Solutions is not affiliated with the U.S. government or any governmental agency.
KFTK FM Florissant. From the Under Law Injury Lawyers, GetJim.com studio. 97.1 FM Talk. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
Cross-examination underway on Tom Graham. Fox News, Donald Trump's defense taking their turn to question the prosecution's star witness, his former lawyer, Michael Cohen, as the former president's hush money trial continues. Fox's Eric Shawn.
He tied the former president directly into the reimbursements for shelling out the money to porn star Stormy Daniels. The heart of the case are the checks, 34 counts of filing false business records. Cohen said Trump knew all about them, and the checks were meant to reimburse Cohen. Cohen testified that he and Trump met in the Oval Office in February of 2017, that 1 month into the new Trump presidency.